Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
The clock has just struck 7 minutes after 6. Today is Tuesday, the 23rd of September 2025. Live and direct from Radio Park Building here at SABC HQ in Auckland Park in Johannesburg to wherever you're hearing us from this morning. In every city, in every town, every kasi, township, village and hamlet. From the highways to the byways, from the hinterland to the heartland. Good morning to you and welcome to it. The Tuesday edition of The Morning Brief here on SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide. Here's some of what is coming up over the next 3 hours. Some of what we will cover and report to you about and engage you about. In a spot of bother, the National Police Commissioner, Fani Masemola, found himself in a tight corner at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. This after contradicting himself, right? Contradicting his own testimony. He initially told the inquiry and was quite adamant about this, that he regarded the police minister, the sidelined, not suspended, on leave, the on-leave police minister, Senzo Mchunu, that he regarded his instruction to disband the KwaZulu-Natal Political Killings Task Team as unlawful. So that was the first part. But later on, he admitted to taking steps towards winding down the unit, effectively implementing what he considered an unlawful instruction. So the confusion deepened then when he also confirmed being alerted to General Shadrack Sibiya's alleged close relationship with businessman Vusumuzi, businessman, understatement, alleged crime kingpin, let's call him that, alleged crime kingpin Vusumuzi Ket Matlala, who was described to him, to Masemola that is, as being so influential that he may as well have been one of the deputy national police commissioners, directing the work and activities of police officers, according to the testimony of the national police commissioner. So commissioners pressed Masemola on why he had relented to what he says was an unlawful directive and how such external influence could have shaped police operations, that is, the influence of the likes of Ket Matlala. So we'll have two takes on the Madlanga Commission today, which of course we do cover live and bring to you live here on SAFM throughout the day. But what we will do in the build-up to that, at about 7:10, we'll speak to crime analyst Calvin Rafadi. You'll remember that last week his name came up in the testimony of General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Basically, the revelation being that Rafadi and Ket Matlala have been in contact and have some kind of a relationship. It turns out actually there's more to that story. They have reportedly even done business together, Calvin Rafadi, Ket Matlala. So Calvin Rafadi will come through and account for that. It's important accountability because this is someone whose voice you hear all the time giving analysis and critiquing some of the work being done by law enforcement. So he owes it to you to explain his relationship with this alleged crime kingpin, Vusumuzi Ket Matlala. So Calvin Rafadi will talk to me at the top of 7. And immediately after that, we'll talk to Professor Nemala Gopal talking about the testimony of the National Police Commissioner, Fani Masemola, and just reflecting on it all, its implications, particularly that whole idea of implementing orders that you consider to have been unlawful. So that's what's coming up in the second hour, in the first half hour of the second hour. Talk about going from 0 to 100 real fast. The Department of Public Works and Infrastructure and the Construction Industry Development Board, the CIDB, go from blacklisting just one errant contractor since 2002, to blocking 40 in 1 year. Minister Dean McPherson has applauded the CIDB for blacklisting 40 contractors since June 2024. He calls this a decisive step to restoring accountability and improving public infrastructure delivery. So the CIDB blacklists contractors for non-performance and corruption, the most significant action that has been taken in over 2 decades. As I've just said, only one company had been blacklisted since 2002. So I'll talk to the Minister, Dean McPherson, about the sudden stepping up in the pace of people contractors being blacklisted for their misdeeds. Minister Dean McPherson is my guest at about 10 to 8 this morning. And lastly, let me flag this: the Economic Freedom Fighters has filed criminal charges against Operation Dudula. This follows the tragic death of a child in Alexandra. The child reportedly died after being denied access to health care. This allegedly linked to the activities of Operation Dudula members who have continued their campaign of blocking clinics to prevent undocumented foreign nationals from receiving treatment. Of course, I've seen some commentary where Dudula actually denies that they had such an activity around the Alexandra clinic, but that has triggered the action of the EFF to lay charges against Operation Dudula. The EFF arguing that such actions by organizations like Dudula violate constitutional rights and have now led to preventable loss of life. So at about 10 to 7 this morning, I'll be in conversation with Nkululeko Dunga, the EFF Gauteng chairperson. As far as the morning brief team goes, we are, as always, at full strength once again this morning with N. Musa at the ready with your news updates every half hour. Rob Byrne has got your traffic. Zaikan is watching your sport. Melissa Puta with the morning brief in brief coming up shortly. Ndauleng Lechela, as always, right on the money with your business and market updates. And Mo Africa Sipho Mantula with the Africa update at about 20 to 7 this morning. Through it all, let's weave in conversations between you and I. Do call me 086 000 2032, or you can send me a WhatsApp voice note or even a WhatsApp message, a straight up message to the number 0614 104 107. All right, we've started it, we've revved it a little bit, it's idled for a little bit. Let's put it in gear and get going this morning.
SAFM's award-winning drama department presents to you the radio drama series Skyline.
Press to cockpit medical emergency now.
Cabin crew to your stations.
Where the skies promise adventure, but behind the cabin doors, untold secrets are found.
He's signing off on cheap parts they installed like it's nothing.
Catch the radio drama series every Saturday at 9 p.m. on SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Thulasizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
All right, kicking us off as always, Melissa Puta with the morning brief in brief. Melissa, let's start with the National Health Laboratory Services, the NHLS. Tell me about what is digital pathology. What's that?
So the NHLS plans to introduce digital pathology early next year to help reduce a backlog of nearly 14,000 cancer diagnosis cases. Rather, the backlog has been worsened by a shortage of public sector pathologists, many of whom have moved to private sector for better pay. NHLS CEO Kollega Milisana said the service has relied on costly private sector help and is now considering policies to require graduates to work at least 2 years, in public healthcare. The upcoming digital system would allow remote access to digitalized slides, aiming to improve efficiency and retain specialists within the public sector.
Let's talk higher education. It would seem the appointment of officials, administrators, board members, chairpersons and the likes to these seaters are turning out to be quite the Achilles heel of many a higher education minister.
Yes, so the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education is at odds with Minister Buti Manamela over his appointment of administrators to 3 seaters, with concerns about their suitability and alleged misconduct. Despite defending his decision, the committee questions the selection process and the handling of a forensic report. The DA has asked the Public Service Commission to intervene, arguing the appointments violate public service principles. The committee urged urged Manamela to strengthen oversight to prevent further SETA mismanagement. So we will see what he does and if he does indeed make everyone happy in this situation.
Yeah, let's see how it all plays out. I mean, these MPs have tasted blood. So,
Yes.
I mean, they really have their antennas up and they're watching everything quite closely, which can only be good for us. Let's talk about, what's this now? A liquor facility inside a school in Mthatha. What's that about?
Yes, this was quite a concerning one. The discovery of a liquor facility operating inside a school in Mthatha in the Eastern Cape has sparked outrage from the Select Committee on Education, which is demanding urgent disciplinary action. Committee Chairperson Maki Feni has called on the Provincial Education Department to explain how a school has become an alcohol sales point and whether staff were involved in this. Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia confirmed the police uncovered the illegal operation and the facility was set to shut down. The committee condemned the incident as irresponsible and warned that schools must not be turned into shebeens, stressing that swift investigation and sanctions are needed in order to protect schools.
All right, Melissa, thank you for that. That's Melissa Puta with the morning brief in brief this morning.
Let me get this right, Ron. You're a plumber by day and Pretoria's smoothest wedding DJ by night.
Yeah, it started out as a passion and now I've got bookings until December. And a smoke machine that needs its own seatbelt.
And you sold your car to buy a van through We Buy Cars.
Brew, it was music to my ears. Zero admin, no long queues. They pulled in, checked it out, and before I knew it, I had cash in the bank.
Now that's a banger. We Buy Cars. Geared for your passion, geared for you.
Mzansi, your dreams could take flight when you play Powerball and Powerball Plus for a massive 152 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday. That's right. Play Powerball for an estimated 83 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 69 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda, Pusha, Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Thulasizwe Simelane on SAFM.
On the weather front, here's how we are looking. In Pretoria, it will be partly cloudy with a minimum of 16 and a maximum of 32. Johannesburg, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 12 to 30. Vereeniging, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 10 to 31. Mbombela, fine, becoming partly cloudy by the afternoon, 14 to 23. Polokwane will be fine, becoming partly cloudy by the afternoon, 11 to 27. Mahikeng, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 15 to 30. Bloemfontein, partly cloudy and windy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 9 to 27. Kimberley, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 7 to 27. Uppington, fine, 7 to 28. Cape Town will be cloudy to partly cloudy with isolated showers and rain towards the afternoon with a minimum of 11 and a maximum of 18. George, fine to partly cloudy, becoming cloudy in the evening with light rain, 9 to 18. Gqeberha, partly cloudy with isolated showers and rain, becoming fine from late afternoon, 11 to 19. East London, fine, becoming cloudy in the evening with isolated showers and rain, 13 to 19. Durban will be cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 18 to 21. Richards Bay, cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers from late afternoon, 19 to 23. And lastly, Pietermaritzburg will be partly cloudy to cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 12 to 22.
Worldview Update, bringing you closer to international or global news.
20 minutes after 6. So if you would like to take up employment in the United States in the next few years, well, you or your prospective American employer better have some seriously deep pockets. The U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order introducing a $100,000 fee for new applicants for what's known as the H-1B Skilled Worker Visa Program. The move, which is set to have taken effect on the 21st of September, that is being billed by the White House as a way to curb what it says is the abuse of the system and push companies to hire more American workers. But the policy has sparked backlash, as you can imagine, from businesses, trade groups, and immigration advocates who argue that it could harm the U.S.'s competitiveness and create uncertainty for thousands of foreign professionals. Let's speak to Brooks Spector, Associate Editor at Daily Maverick. Good morning to you, Brooks, and thank you for your time once again. H-1B Skilled Worker Visa Program. What's that, and why are these changes so significant?
Well, good morning. Good to be with you. You've outlined it pretty well. The United States has, as you can imagine, a variety of visa categories. If you're going to go on a summer vacation to see national parks and that kind of thing, that's one kind of visa. If you're going to go to a university and you've been accepted, that's another kind of visa, and so forth. But this one was designed for companies that want to bring on board specific kinds of special skills that were not readily available in the United States, so goes the argument, and that they could find people with those skills in a foreign country who were interested and able to come to the United States. And the point of Donald Trump's order was to make it rather than a system where people could bring in all kinds of people under all kinds of circumstances, to much more narrowly tighten the process so that the prospective employer has to pony up $100,000. Now, if you're bringing in someone who is an extraordinarily skilled computer specialist, and you're going to be paying them rather large amounts of money, that probably isn't an insurmountable burden. If you're a small company, a small startup company with 10 employees, say, that represents a pretty high hurdle. And as a result, any number of organizations and individuals are complaining that this is very prejudicial and very difficult for them. The second level argument, of course, is that the companies interested in hiring such people should be hiring Americans or should be training Americans to take those jobs if the skills are not available at this point.
So two features of that story actually struck me quite significantly. One being the impact on the tech sector, Amazon in particular being mentioned. But the second aspect being India as a country, just in terms of the proportion of the holders of these H-1B visas, some 71%, and then China to the tune of some 12%. What do we read into those stats? The tech element, as well as these two countries being dominant in terms of these visas?
Well, the tech portion of it, of course, is particularly important, and that's where a lot of the opposition to this new way of handling that particular visa category is coming from, because it's being argued by the companies involved that this is just too much money, put it simply. And the second argument, as you correctly note, almost 3/4 of all such people come from India. The next largest country participant or country in which people are coming from is China. Between the two of them, you're now talking almost all of the people. And as a result, the argument has been that the companies are exploiting such individuals because they're underpaying them, underpaying person with those skills. If they were paying more, there would be people who would be trained, or there would be people who would be available, or that if they were paying, that the companies were paying for the training, there would be more people available. And so it becomes an issue about the question of foreign immigration coming into the United States and who is being allowed and who is not.
Juxtapose what we are talking about, Brooks, for me. Juxtapose it for me with this new concept now of a gold card that is being introduced. Everything has to be gold with the U.S. president, doesn't it? Tell me about this gold card and how it will work. What do we understand about it?
Well, I'm sorry you don't have one. Well, maybe you do. I don't know.
I don't know if I'd like one at this very moment.
Well, the idea behind it was, I mean, you're quite right. The man really does like the idea of gold elevators, gold the thingies on the walls, gold this, gold that. If you have $1 million that you're prepared to invest, then you get a gold card and you get permanent resident status in the United States. Now, the problem with this is, I mean, lots of countries around the world offer some version of that already. Some countries disguise it as the remote worker visa or the investment visa, especially smaller countries that really would like to get their hands on people with a lot of wealth. But the real problem, the real challenge to it is, it's not clear the president actually has the authority to create such categories or such arrangements, because visa laws, immigration laws, access to entry to the country is not the prerogative of the president to do what he wants. It's actually something that's written into law. And then if it's written into law, of course, who's responsible for that? That's a congressional prerogative.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for your time this morning. That's Brooks Spector, Associate Editor at Daily Maverick.
This is SAFM Sport with Zai Khan.
Hey Zai, good morning to you. So the Proteas women, things didn't really go their way down in Lahore in the final ODI, yeah?
Yeah, they were going for gold, but unfortunately...
Going for gold. they lacked the Midas touch at the final hurdle, or shall we call it the Trump touch?
Yes, let's not go down that path now. We were defeated by Pakistan, but you know what? We won the series. So, we lost 6 wickets. That's how we lost the match, with 114 balls remaining after being bowled out for just 115. Although there was Tasman Brits who sat out the final match yesterday, she was named player of the series for her 2 unbeaten centuries. So, despite the loss, the Proteas women took the series 2-1. Onto soccer, the Carling Knockout Cup round of 16 draw was out. Kaizer Chiefs face a tough one. They'll take on Stellenbosch FC away. Meanwhile, the reigning champions Magesi begin their title defence away to AmaZulu. Other fixtures, Pirates will face Siwelele, Orbit College welcome TS Galaxy, and Sundowns will host Marumo Gallants. Now, inspired by his recent call-up to Bafana Mamelodi Sundowns right-back Zuko Umdunyelwa hopes his journey will inspire youngsters from disadvantaged backgrounds to believe in the dream of professional football, and he spoke about the sense of responsibility that comes with this achievement.
I think every football player's dream is to represent their nation. So when the opportunity came that I should represent my nation, I took it with both hands, because I know what it means from a boy that's coming from a township to be in a platform where you get an opportunity to represent your nation. It's representing all the boys that are coming from Ekasi, all the boys that are coming from rural areas that don't believe Ukuthi this thing is possible. That's the pride I took into the game, and also the nation itself.
Elsewhere, Paris Saint-Germain's Ousmane Dembele has won the Ballon d'Or, the award for the best player in the world for the first time. Now, Spain and Barcelona midfielder Aitana Bonmati has made history by becoming the first player to win the women's Ballon d'Or 3 times. And rugby, the United Rugby Championship will adopt the World Rugby 20-minute red card trial for the 2025-26 season, allowing teams to replace a red-carded player after 20 minutes unless the offence is deemed deliberate or violent. The move aims to improve player safety, ensuring fairer outcomes and aligning with global standards. We'll be back with more sport on the morning brief at the top of the hour. I'm Zai Khan.
Good morning, I'm Anne Musa. In the headlines, President Cyril Ramaphosa and his counterparts Donald Trump from the US and Lula da Silva from Brazil will be among the speakers at the annual general debate of the United Nations General Assembly later today. National Police Commissioner Fani Masimula faces questions about his contradictions on the disbandment of the political killing stars team when he returns to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria this morning. And Disney has announced the US chat show Jimmy Kimmel Live will be back on air today. This follows the suspension of the show almost a week ago. I'll have details on these and other stories at 7.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
It is simply a ridiculously busy morning around Gauteng. I don't know whether it's excitement from tomorrow's day off or what it is, but there's all sorts of issues. There's a crash on the Mike 1 going north at the Crown. That's very heavy. That's a high-volume route, and that is backed from Ormonde all the way up to the Crown. You've got Nazareth Road, you've got Clip River Drive as your alternatives to beat that. A big enough crash that it's holding you up southbound approaching that scene as well. Roadworks and a breakdown, N3 south, all before Linksfield Road. At some point, you'll get into a single lane there. It's a very heavy backlog from Lindbro Park passing Alex down into Edenvale this morning. And then you've got the roadworks which have been in place since Saturday, which are just continuing all day long. N3 north of Buccleuch, at least 2 lanes closed. Very heavy from Lindbro Park heading up into Buccleuch interchange. Went through it yesterday, going to go through it again today. Breakdown on the M1 south at Buccleuch, so coming through from Allendale, that's heavy. Crash on the N1 north at Olifantsfontein. There's some queues on your way to Pretoria, but a really big backlog having a look coming southbound from Old Joburg Road all the way down towards Olifantsfontein Road this morning. It really is heavy. And of course, you've got the N17 roadworks coming from Brakpan into Boksburg, still causing delays as well. Durban, there is a bit of rain about this morning, so do proceed carefully if it's wet where you are. And Cape Town, the N2 inbound is a route under pressure. There's queues passing Khayelitsha towards the R300. And as soon as you sort of get the other side of the R300, you'll sit in a crash delay from the R300 right through to that collision up by the airport exit. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
The business update on SAFM.
All right, the first update of the morning coming through now with Ndauling Lechela. Good morning to you, Ndauling. You're talking big money, big money for this time of the day. 100 billion US dollars. That's how much Nvidia is set to invest in OpenAI.
That's right, and I wish they were investing that in me. $100 billion, man.
No, that's too much. That's crazy money.
Crazy. So deal-making activity really heating up in the AI space. There's been a lot of strategic partnerships being clinched, and the latest one, of course, between NVIDIA and ChatGPT owner OpenAI. Now, NVIDIA will be committing as much as $100 billion to OpenAI, both through direct investment and by supplying the company with advanced data center chips. The agreement links 2 of the most influential players in AI, highlighting how deeply the industry's leading firms are becoming intertwined. For NVIDIA, the arrangement secures a stronger position in the AI market by taking a financial stake in OpenAI, one of the sector's most prominent developers. For OpenAI, the partnership provides not only funding but also access to specialized hardware it needs to maintain its competitive edge as global demand for AI capabilities accelerates. Now, this partnership comes amid a series of major moves across the sector. Microsoft, of course, already poured billions into OpenAI, and this since 2019. NVIDIA recently joined forces with Intel on chip development, and earlier this year, the company pledged $5 billion to Intel and took part in OpenAI's $6.6 billion fundraising round. And analysts expect a lot more deal making, a lot more strategic partnerships to come through as these companies sort of build off of each other's capabilities.
In pharmaceuticals, it would seem that the obesity drug market is really the market of the moment, isn't it? And Pfizer wants some of that action.
Listen, if you're not in AI, you're somewhere in the obesity market,
Sure.
And US pharma giant Pfizer eyeing a piece of the obesity treatment market, and so it's set to acquire Metsera, a biotech firm specializing in next generation anti-obesity medications, in a deal worth $7.3 billion. Now, the strategic move aims to boost Pfizer's presence in the growing obesity treatment market, projected to reach $150 billion by the early 2030s. Now, by acquiring Metsera, Pfizer is positioning itself to compete with industry leaders like Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, which have dominated the market with their GLP-1 therapies. Metsera's approach could attract patients seeking more convenient treatment options and improve drug adherence. Now, the deal follows Pfizer's recent setbacks in its own development efforts with a weight loss pill, Danglupron. The company has scrapped the development of a once-a-day version of the pill in April after a trial patient experienced potential drug-induced liver injury. Now, analysts believe this acquisition could be a meaningful positive for Pfizer, positioning it with a more robust obesity pipeline that could be differentiated on dosing.
All right. Recap for us how we closed yesterday and how we're doing this morning.
So starting in the US, stocks closed in the green overnight, with the Nasdaq leading the gains up 0.7%. This as investors cheer the partnership between Nvidia and OpenAI, shrugging off concerns fueled by the H-1B visa as tech giants mull the increased costs that will be associated with hiring global talent. And then coming back home, despite gold hitting fresh highs, the JSE was on the back foot as profit taking ensued. The Resources 10 complex, the only indice in the green, up 2.3%. But as mentioned, the all share closing in the red, down 0.14%. In currency markets, the local unit remains steady at 17.35 to the dollar, or however, taking a knock back at $65 per barrel this morning. And then looking at Asia, trade is mixed. While investors are positive following expectations of further rate cuts from the Fed, these gains have been capped by geopolitical uncertainty taking place in Europe and the Middle East.
Right on the money as always. That's Antauleng Lechela. She'll be back with another update for you just after 7:30.
Africa Update on SAFM.
Let's say good morning to Advocate Sipho Mantula. Raz, let's start in the United Nations. At 80 years of the United Nations and UNGA 80. Tell me, what are the top 5 things to watch out for?
Fresh morning to that and Jumbo Africa to the listeners. Indeed, Tulas, many African leaders are in New York, in the US. 5 key issues, Tulas, that I think are key. As you know, it has been a talk of the town. The security sector reform of the Security Council, aiding the 2 members, what we call institutional reform, and the support of African Union-led peace support operations. These are key issues, Tulas, that have been raised many times, and African leaders will be going and raising the same issue. Light on diplomacy. It appears Trump doesn't want to meet any African leader. Only Marco Rubio is meeting William Ruto to us. We have a light issues of engagement. Tshisekedi only touching on the 30 years of the armed conflicts in the DRC. The minerals issues to us, the third aspect. Bola Tinubu and William Ruto also convening what they called an invitation-only roundtable on Africa Mineral Strategy Group. Very important to us that we know that the issue of minerals have been the push and the pull factor of many conflicts, and there's a need for African ownership and beneficiation. The fourth one, Tulas, the deal making. I think one of the deals is Tshisekedi again, Tulas. Invest in DRC Congo Ball and Business Roundtable this evening. Still focusing on the minerals and innovation in the DRC. I saw Kenya and the US, AGOA, it seems will be another deal making. The last one, Tulas, the AU chairperson, when he's going there, fighting on what, Tulas, youth and women empowerment, health and climate change, human rights, and issues that are key to the African continent. I think, Tulas, those are the key issues that will be at UNGA at 80. Some of us, we miss people like Robert Mugabe, Tulas, Gaddafi. When they go on stage, they don't miss their weight.
Of course, that's the world leaders debate that will be unfolding. I remember exactly that era that you're alluding to, of dramatic speeches being delivered.
Absolutely.
I remember Hugo Chavez one time. speaking after the U.S. President George Bush had been at the podium and starting his speech by saying, the devil was here a short while ago. Yeah, okay. But it's no longer that dramatic, I get the sense. It's just straightforward speeches these days. Let's talk about what's happening in South Sudan in the trial, the treason trial of Riek Machar, presented in dramatic form, in a dramatic manner when he appeared in court.
Absolutely, to us. And maybe let's paint a picture of being dramatic also to us, to say for the first time he's been seen in public with the co-accused, and they were in the cage to us, just like Bashir, if you can recall. Now, the defense team, it says that this court lacks jurisdiction. First, they're incompetent. They're arguing also that the Riek Machar cannot be criminally charged because that will hurt the 2018 peace deal between Riek Machar and Salva Kiir to end that deadly civil war that has cost more than 400,000 people. So you will recall also that Riek Machar was the first vice president. Now he's being charged for treason. And that's how his defense is arguing, and this matter will continue today to last. But this is worrying. It is on the national TV of the South Sudan TV to last. It's been televised to the people of South Sudan to look at the charges that Riek Machar is facing, almost more than 7 to us, that we have already mentioned them. We'll monitor it closely to us because the South Sudan is in the brink of a collapse and also of a civil war.
He did tell us when we see him doing things, we should say, that's my boy. Our boy is doing it again. Mine. The boy is mine. Tell me why the Botswana are getting a public holiday.
Remember, on the 30th, it is a public holiday, the liberation from the British. It was an Independence Day on the 30th, but he says on the 29th, it's another public holiday to can commemorate the victory of their 4 athletes who won in Japan. They were the first to get the first gold. Second came US and the third came South Africa. And you could see on that interview between Botswana and South Africa, they said that South Africa could have come second, but it is the third. But this was the 4 athletes from Gaborone who were able to clinch the first gold in the world athletics in Japan. Now, Duma Boko is in the US, it's in the UNGA. He has to shine to us a bit, and say that I'm giving the Botswana an extra public holiday on the 29th as they'll be celebrating their independence on the 30th of September.
All right, and then lastly, Sipho, your historical archive. Take me back to the 23rd of September, 1970.
This is 55 years ago. We have touched it, if you recall, in May when it was his birthday. And this is for the Orlando East people, for Orlando Pirates fans, that they will recall James Sonke Mpanza, who passed away on this day to us. His funeral was in Donorkop Cemetery to us, a big funeral that have ever been seen in Soweto. This is one of the people, as you have said, Ezagama Kebula. It was his nickname. But also, he had many names to us. They call him Man, oh man. Koi man. There are many names of Sofa Sonke, but he's the one who you recall Orlando Stadium. I don't know whether I can know the name of Orlando Stadium. Escotini.
Yeah, Escotini
Maminze.
Yes.
That is James Sofa Sonke Mpanza to us for us, and we know he was one person who was fighting for the rights of black South Africans in the black townships during that time. Also named the father of Soweto. So today we recall when he was buried in Soweto in Donorkop Cemetery 55 years ago on this day, the 23rd of September 1970, just on the eve of our Heritage Day to last tomorrow. And to say to the Orlando Pirates fans, they will always recall James Sofa Sonke Mpanza. Asante sana Tulas.
Sipho, thank you for that. That's Sipho Mantula with your Africa update for today.
The Buccaneers are chasing for nothing but victory as Godini. But Southern African neighbors, the Stars, believe they will shine away from home. This is the first preliminary round of the CAF Champions League. Catch the second leg match between Orlando Pirates and Diodi FC on Saturday, 27 September at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC 1 and SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Mzansi, your dreams could take flight when you play Powerball and Powerball Plus for a massive 152 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday. That's right. Play Powerball for an estimated 83 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 69 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda, Pusha, Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Call Thulasizwe now, 086 000 2032.
All right, let's see what you've had to say about some of the issues that we've been raising this morning, as well as any other issues really that may be exercising your mind this morning. Let me start with this one. I'm fascinated. South Africa's electoral system. I wonder what this person wants to say about our electoral system.
Morning, Thulas. It's Chris in Camperdown. You know, the way South African electoral system works is really dangerous because through the blind of choosing political parties, we don't know what we get. Look at Donald Trump asking parents not to vaccinate their children and linking autism to the use of Tylenol. That's seriously dangerous. And I think we can mention many examples here in South Africa of how dangerous populist leaders are. Maybe we need to rethink our electoral law again and really make seriously that the people's voice has got accountability.
Chris, thank you for that, and bringing back that age-old debate, right, about what's the right mix between proportional representation as in party-based list and constituency-based with, a directly elected MP that the people can hold accountable and say, this is the person who came and campaigned in their own name and I'm able to hold them to account. Just that balance. Of course, we've had many significant changes in that independents are now able to participate. But I think Chris is talking to an even more fundamental point that says we just need to take the electoral reforms even further. Many investigations and reports have been done on that, but none of them really taken forward by way of implementation of significant electoral reforms until the recent court decisions forced the changes that you and I saw at the last election for the national and provincial sphere of government. Thank you for bringing back on the table. Let's see who else wants to weigh in on that.
Good morning, Thulas and the team. Good show as always. The issue of Palestinian is very complex, Thulas. You have PLO, which has no legitimacy. We have Egypt, Jordan, who don't want to see the Palestinian state. And west of all, you have the USA, which has the influence, who can make these things happen, but they are not part of this. So it's symbolic that these countries are recognizing Palestinian states, but in the long run, to last, this would not succeed. PK, thank you.
Thank you for that. And I think that's the commentary I've read, that it's largely symbolic, the recognition of Palestine by these, especially Western nations, many of whom identify themselves as allies of Israel. It is said that it's largely symbolic and is unlikely to change much. It would be interesting to see, if you're saying you recognize a Palestinian state, what then do you do? Do you advocate for full UN membership for Palestine? Do you recognize that? Do you set up diplomatic relations with Palestine? France, by the way, also followed through. Really completely expected. Nothing surprising there, because, in fact, they were the ones who were first out of the gates with this talk of saying, unless the situation changes fundamentally, we are going to have to recognize the state of Palestine. At the heart of what they are saying, and I think that for me has been the main argument that I heard, was that the actions of Israel on the ground right now in the West Bank, as far as settlements are concerned, as well as what's happening in Gaza, puts at risk or imperils the viability of a two-state solution at any point in the future. And therefore, these countries saying that we are moving now because in the future, it may be impossible to even talk of a two-state solution. All right, thank you for making those contributions. We'll come back to your calls and voice notes a bit later on.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
We mentioned before, it is a very heavy Tuesday across the country. Let's give you the big ones. The Mike 1 into Joburg, that high-volume route under pressure this morning with a crash at Crown Interchange. Now, there's a really big backlog from Gold Reef City or Monde area, but there's a massive backlog going south as well as you come into that through the Crown Interchange area. So very heavy both sides, but it's the northbound that really is bad up to Crown, and then northbound stays back right through to Parktown. There's roadworks and a breakdown on the N3 South approaching Linksfield Road. Only a single lane open for a section there, and that is a monumental queue for this time of the morning, going south all the way back through Alex back to Limbro Park. If you're on the N3 or wanting to use the N3 to get to the airport for those early morning flight connections, cancel those plans and get onto some alternative routes between Marlborough Drive and Linksfield. It is a massive car park. N3 going north, Bedford View to Modderfontaine's heavy, and then you queue N3 north again up into the roadworks at Buccleuch. That's those works that have been there since Saturday. They're still there. They seem to be permanent, but a heavy queue from Alex again going into that. Vehicles overturned on the N1 north at Olifantsfontein, so it's heavy from New Road going into that, but there's a really big backlog on the southbound side as well, queuing up from Old Joburg Road down through to Olifantsfontein. You've got the high volume traffic coming south, having a look at it as well. Durban, the M7 leaving the Bluff, a crash underneath the M4 bridge. That's heavy on that M7 westbound track. And Cape Town, really big traffic on the N2 this morning. It's a crash near the airport exit. The N2 currently sitting with a queue back as far as Muway in Khayelitsha. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
Amakosi want gold and black to be the only visible colors on the field. Meanwhile, the Luanda-based visitors Kabuskop plan to upset Amafana Boktula Nakolo. This is the first preliminary round of the CAF Confederation Cup. Catch the second leg encounter between Kaizer Chiefs and Kabuskop SCP on Saturday 27 September at 2:30 p.m. live on SABC2 and SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
This year, the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival offers you 3 days of the heart and art of jazz from the 26th to the 28th of September across 4 stages at the Sandton Convention Center. Esperanza Spalding, the Baylor Project, Jasmia Horn, Alun Wade, Steve Beddy, Michelle Ndege Cello, Steve Dyer featuring Amazwi Choir, Gabby Motuba, the Fisherman Orchestra, and over 50 world-class acts will be expecting you and yours. Take me there. Buy your tickets +1 at Ticketmaster now.
Call Thulasizwe now. 086 000 2032.
All right, let me go to a call from Sipamandla in Gqeberha. Good morning to you, Sipamandla.
Good morning, Thulasizwe.
Are you well?
Yes. Not too bad, sir. But to not shout, it's stabbing me in 2 ways. It's an amazing idea. We could use it very well in Zanzibar. If you think about it.
Which idea? The gold card?
Yes.
Yeah.
All these amazing educated people coming from the north of Africa, landing at Joburg with these skills. We charge them double. Take that money, give it to Edward Kiswetter. We get more money to tech space for infrastructure development.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, there's going to be so many Europeans traveling north and south because there's going to be a big dam by Operator. There's this $4 billion dam in north of Ethiopia.
Yeah.
All skilled workers are going to be traveling to Joburg. We could charge them in South Africa.
Yeah.
Get more money to the tech space.
Spamandla, your line is letting us down, but I'm hearing the point that you are making, that we could take that idea of charging a significant fee for the skilled worker visas for people coming into South Africa. The counter to that argument, though, Spamandla, and I wish the line was better, would have engaged you on it, is what they say where actually those skills are actually needed in sectors where they enhance competitiveness and innovation. And you never know when the best ideas will come from in terms of the people that come into your country. That has been the argument, certainly in the tech sector in the United States, saying that these workers are key to our competitiveness. But yeah, as you say, we could follow through on that idea, and you say we would realize quite a lot of revenue for one Edward Kiswetter, the SARS commissioner. Tsepo, good morning.
Good morning, Thulas. Thulas, I would like to talk about this issue of Operation Dudula.
Yes.
It's very much concerning now, whereby they are now targeting the school kids.
Mm-hmm.
We have some instances whereby, for example, I give you a typical example whereby my cousin who she has passed on,
Yes.
and then she left 4 kids, and 2 of them they do not have their birth certificate. So now it's quite worrying because it's going to affect our own people, whom they will be treated as if they are foreign nationals, whereas they are our own people. So I think it needs to be looked at in another way around. I'm not too sure if maybe other political parties can intervene, try to put it in a nice way, because now there is an incident whereby there is another kid who has passed on, whereby it was an issue of maybe health issues, whereby operation to do now.
Gotcha.
That's where my concern is.
All right.
I think maybe they are listening wherever they are.
Yeah,
Thank
all right.
you very much, Tula.
All right, Tsepo, thank you for that. That's Tsepo there weighing in on Operation Tutula, making the point that I've heard as well, that there are many reasons why many legitimate South African citizens may not necessarily have documentation. In fact, that conversation may be worth visiting with someone in a position of authority to lay it out for us. What's the extent of people being undocumented for one reason or another, and then not being able to walk around with that document and show it at the demand of Operation Tutula, but also the questions of the authority with which Operation Tutula does what it does. So I've heard that criticism and critique coming through, certainly, and that's along the same lines that Tsepo was arguing in the last while. AB, good morning to you. You want to talk about Helen Ziller?
Yes, Tulas. I think Helen Ziller is both funny and pathetic at the same time. You know, she gave me quite a laugh when I heard a TV presenter asking her, so what do you think about the genocide in Gaza?
Mm-hmm.
Her response was, well, genocide is a big word. No. Really? Wow. That's quite an observation, Helen. Of course it's a big word, because the Palestinians are being slaughtered on an industrial scale. So many reputable organizations have declared it a genocide, including 2 Israeli human rights organizations, B'Tselem and Israeli Physicians for Human Rights, and so many others like Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, Doctors Without Borders, the International Association of Genocide Scholars, and our own Judge Nervi Pillay at the United Nations this week. And I laughed loudly when Helen said, well, we haven't quite discussed it at the DA and decided whether it's a genocide or not. Of course, it's well known that you'll never get a word of criticism of Israel from the DA. And Tulas, you may remember how Steenhuisen immediately ran off to the Ukraine and declared loudly, hey, Russia, you are doing very bad things here. The hypocrisy, double standards, and dishonesty of the DA is absolutely breathtaking.
All right, AB, thank you for making that point. And I suppose the criticism also included therein is just I don't know, I could be wrong. The DA is not known for its strong foreign policy, are they? Other than the instances that AB mentions where they've dabbled in foreign policy, the recent controversies where they are shadow minister or their spokesperson on international relations was caught up in the controversies around the deteriorating relationship between South Africa and the United States. But in terms of just clarity, are you any clearer? I don't know, maybe let me put it as a question. Are you, as someone who follows domestic politics and is interested in hearing a variety of voices, are you clearer on the DA's foreign policy? My sense is that I've not heard a clear articulation of, on the international stage, this is what we stand for. And I don't know whether that's born out of the fact that perhaps the domestic issues are easier to campaign on. And, right now it's about you are not in power in the sense of you are running the show. So therefore you'd want to showcase your domestic, you put your best foot forward. Then you can worry about foreign relations later on when you can see a clear pathway that says I may be in government in the next, 4 years or something. I don't know. So maybe layered in what AB was saying about the stance on Israel, the question of a genocide in Palestine, perhaps I would put it to you, symbolizes that bigger conversation about the DA's stance on many foreign policy issues. All right, let me leave that there for now. Let me go straight to N. Musa with the latest news.
Outsurance will go out of their way to try and save you money on your car insurance. If they can't, ask for 500 Rand. Time to switch and save. Call 0800 60,000 today.
In our top stories, Ramaphosa to speak at the UN General Assembly, and Masemola faces questions about his contradictions at the Madlanga Commission. Good morning. President Cyril Ramaphosa and his counterparts Donald Trump from the US and Lula da Silva from Brazil will be among the speakers at the general debate of the United Nations General Assembly later today. Ramaphosa is expected to call on the UN to demonstrate multilateralism is alive. The White House says Trump will deliver a major speech on the renewal of American strength around the world. Showan Bryce Peace reports.
Trump returns to the UN after a 4-year absence, having riled foes and allies alike since returning to the White House in January, and the reception he'll receive will be closely watched over US tariffs and its support for Israel's continued war in Gaza that has bucked international calls for an immediate ceasefire. President Lula speaks directly before Trump amid a tense standoff over Brazil's conviction of Trump ally and former President Jair Bolsonaro for seeking to illegally cling to power. President Ramaphosa is expected to again reiterate calls for the UN to exercise its leadership role in global governance and actively enforce international law and human rights standards for all and not merely a select few.
National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola faces questions about his contradictions on the disbandment of the political killings task team when he returns to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria this morning. The embattled police minister, Senzo Mchunu, ordered the disbandment of the task team. Masemola, who started to testify yesterday, also said his deputy Shedrick Sibiya and businessman Vuzimuzi Kat Matlala were friends. Matlala is an alleged criminal mastermind who's reported to have close ties with Mchunu. This is what Masemola said about Sibiya and Matlala.
A concerned party requested a meeting with me, and upon meeting, the person indicated that implicated General Sibiya and indicated that he is known to be close friends with Mr. Matlala. It was expressed that Matlala was involved in various crimes and suspected to be involved with the kidnapping of Mr. Jerry Bushura.
Meanwhile, crime expert Tabang Bukhopa says if Mchunu cared about the country, he would not have disbanded the task team.
If he had the best interest of this country, he would have not taken the decisions that he taken in the manner and the direction that he has taken. So he was tacit in making sure that he over-induced political pressure on the heads in the SAPS, and he targeted General Sibiya, knowing that perhaps General Sibiya, I would say he was already 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So he knew his weaknesses and the vulnerabilities in the SAPS at that time, according to the situation, was General Sibiya.
12 men are expected to appear in the Zeerust Magistrates Court in the northwest today. They were arrested following shooting incidents in Marula Kop village last Tuesday. Police say preliminary investigations indicate conflict between two security companies led to the attack in which a man was killed. The conflict is over a chrome mining area. A taxi driver was also kidnapped and later rescued after the incident in which 5 other people were wounded. Police spokesperson Sabata Muhwabone.
Following the incident that occurred on Tuesday last week, we have arrested 12 people. Among others, they are facing counts of attempted murder and unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition. The case was postponed for bail application and further investigation. I must also indicate that over the weekend we have also arrested 2 people for theft of firearms and unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition.
And finally, Disney has announced that the US chat show Jimmy Kimmel Live will be back on air today. This follows the suspension of the show almost a week ago. The BBC's Nick Beek reports.
Kimmel has long been one of America's most prominent late-night TV personalities. But his show was suspended after he said President Trump had reacted to the death of Charlie Kirk, how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, and that the MAGA gang were looking to score political points from the killing. Condemnation and warnings from the Trump-appointed head of the US broadcast regulator were seen to precipitate his suspension. Announcing its U-turn, ABC's parent company Disney said its initial decision had been taken to avoid inflaming further an emotional moment for the US.
Recapping the top story, President Cyril Ramaphosa and his counterparts Donald Trump from the US and Lula da Silva from Brazil will be among the speakers at the annual general debate of the United Nations General Assembly later today. For SFM News, I am Anne Musa.
Outsurance will go out of their way to try and save you money on your car insurance. If they can't, ask for 500 Rand. Visit outsurance.co.za today. You always get something out.
There are 1,500 reasons to get an Outsurance car insurance quote today. You heard it here. If Outsurance can't beat your car insurance premium, ask them for 500 Rand cash. Make that 1,500 Rand cash if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash, you always get something out. Get a quick and easy quote today. Call 0800 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's and information online.
It's a very good morning to you. In your SFM sports headlines, it's soccer. The Carling Knockout Cup draw has thrown up some mouth-watering clashes, with Soweto Giants, Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates eyeing some deep runs. And swimming South Africa President Alan Fritz has told SABC Sport that the Federation will meet with Sports Minister Gator McKenzie to address the budget cuts affecting the sport. Details just before 7:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Well, it's a very busy Tuesday. Here's the big ones. To try and avoid, if you can, a crash on the M1 North in Midrand. The collision is north going to Pretoria at Olifantsfontein. So there's queuing pressure certainly into that, but there's a really big backlog coming south out of Pretoria down through Midrand to Olifantsfontein with the onlooking factor. Roadworks causing chaos on the N3, northbound of Beclue. Very heavy from Alex. Southbound driving down to Linksfield. Most of the lanes there are shut. Heavy from Lynbro Park. If you're on your way on the N3 for flight connections this morning, if that's your idea, change that plan. Get onto an alternative route. Avoid the N3 south into Galilee's. Earlier crash on the Mike 1 at Crown, causing delays from Boyson's and then pushing that backlog right through towards the Parktown area. Durban, the M4 inbound, queuing to get off at the M4 the M4 north at the M7. That's all heavy. And the M7's got a crash at the M4, leaving the bluff. So a lot of pressure in that area today. The M13 from Hillcrest down to Kloof is busy again this morning as well. And Cape Town, a major backlog on the N2 in from Khayelitsha. It's a crash scene near the airport exit. Traffic's all the way back through to the Mew Way off-ramp in Khayelitsha. R300 north to Van Riebeeck Road, backlogging as well. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
9 minutes after 7. Welcome to it, the second hour of the Morning Brief here on SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide. And that's on the traditional radio airwaves. But of course, as always, we are live on our digital platforms, on our website, safm.co.za, on the YouTube channel, SAFM Radio, as well as live on social media, such as your Facebook and the platform formerly known as X. Let's continue the conversation. You can call me and be a part of it on 086 000 2032, or you can send me a WhatsApp voice note or WhatsApp message on 0614 104 107. Here's what's on the agenda over the next half hour or so. We're focusing squarely on the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Two aspects really that we'll be focusing on. The one being the evidence of National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola yesterday and his account of how he grappled with what he considered an unlawful instruction from the minister, the sidelined on leave Minister of Police Senzo Mchunu. But yet, went on, did the National Police Commissioner, to issue instructions that had the effect of beginning the winding down. Ultimately, he didn't close it down, the political killings task team, but he had started processes to comply with what he considered an unlawful instruction. And so he was under pressure, pressed to answer on that. So we'll focus on that aspect with Professor Nimala Gopal and just reflecting on that. But of course, we'll also be talking to Kelvin Rafadi, who is a crime expert and research associate at the University of Joburg, just reflecting on the testimony of Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, the KZN Police Commissioner, in which Kelvin Rafadi's name was mentioned alongside that of Vusumuzi Ket Matlala. Kelvin Rafadi on standby to talk to me in just a moment. So let's get into it then, the second hour of the morning brief.
Spar brings you super savings, like 700ml all gold tomato sauce for $32.99 and get 100 megs free data on Spar Mobile, or 400-gram Koo baked beans and tomato sauce. Buy two for 30 Rand and get 50 megs free data on Spar Mobile. Plus, you could win your share of 6 million Rand in instant cash. Competition ends 7 October. Prices valid 23 September to 7 October 2025 while stocks last. T's and C's apply.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
The Spar Baby Proteas will be taking part in the Netball World Youth Cup 2025 in Gibraltar from the 19th to the 28th of September 2025. These are our rising stars. Hashtag Together We Rise. Brought to you by the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture.
Thulasizwe Simelane is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube and X at SAFM Radio.
12 minutes after 7. The National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola found himself in a tight corner at the Madlanga Commission after contradicting his own testimony. He initially told the inquiry that he regarded Police Minister Senzo Mchunu's instruction to disband the KwaZulu-Natal Political Killings Task Team as unlawful, yet later admitted to taking steps towards winding down the unit. The confusion deepened even further when he confirmed being alerted to General Shadrack Sibiya's alleged close relationship with businessman Vusumuzi Ket Matlala, the accused crime kingpin, who has been described, according to Masemola, as being so influential that, he's said to have operated pretty much like one of the deputy national police commissioners directing police activities. Take a listen to some of what the National Police Commissioner, Fani Masemola, had to say in his testimony yesterday.
The matters around this, they are still under investigation, but, the person did bring to my attention that the closeness of them to such an extent that this person said, Mr. Matlala is actually one of my deputies. It's just that I'm not aware of. In that he's doing the same work with General Sibiya. They direct police to do certain things and so on. So that was the allegation that was said. I think it's safe to leave it there.
And you're saying because of the fact that those matters are still under investigation?
Correct. They are still under investigation, yes.
And is that the reason why you are not sharing more and you just simply make that allegation in terms of the General Sibiya having been implicated?
Yeah, I think it is safe to leave it there because it's still under investigation, so it might not be good to give everything while it's still under investigation. Thank you.
All right, so that was the testimony yesterday of General Fani Masemola. It would seem the picture that is emerging, Vusumuzi Ket Matlala had or has no shortage of friends in high places, right? In many sectors, especially within law enforcement and associated fields. So you'll remember last week the mention of Calvin Rafadi, the crime expert that we speak to from time to time, even on this station. He was mentioned by General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi as one of those people associated with Vusumuzi Ket Matlala. Calvin Rafadi joins me now to take the conversation forward. Good morning to you, Calvin, and thank you for your time. So describe for us in your own words your understanding of your relationship with Vusumuzi Ket Matlala. Friend, comrade, ally, associate, what is he to you?
Good morning to us and good morning to your listeners. Yeah, I grew up also in Mamelodi, knowing Matlala and also knowing Jerry Wushuha, the person who's gone missing and kidnapped. So basically, I know him even from a perspective of the time when I used to rent out vehicles for the matric dance. Sometimes he will bring business, or I'll rent out his other vehicles, luxury vehicles for drop-offs. And again, recently, I've been in communication with him in terms of the close protection officers, because now they are in high demand. There's a lot of demand in that. But just to fast track, the last time I saw myself, Jerry, and he was with Vosi in Manley, I engaged with them, and then they were going to some beauty parlor and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So the same aspect, immediately after I realized that Jerry has gone missing, I've been in communication with the family. Actually, I've got a mandate from the family to help the police to investigate. So then to fast track, we even did some documentary with the family, pleading to
I
the
saw that
communities
on Cutting Edge, yeah.
Yes, and on ENCA and the likes. So I'm in full communication. Then I'm the one who's been so vocal and even giving out the family numbers of even General Mkhwanazi and General Fanima Semola in allegations that some of the generals within the police structures are involved, for them to move the docket. Then the docket was then moved from another tax team to the other. Then I'm in communication now with the new tax team. Now, my job and my role has been for many years what I call it covert operation and infiltration. So what does that mean? It means I go and collect certain information on behalf of the police, and then we channel it to see the relevance of that investigation. So that's why I've got so many successes in black and white doing the very same job. That's a job, by the way, for crime intelligence. But where is gone missing or why they've got a dead end, we intervene.
So are you officially engaged by crime intelligence or any of the structures of the SAPS? I ask that because if you were, I would imagine that General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi would have a way of just verifying that without needing to, quote-unquote, blast you at the commission while on the stand.
Thank you very much. That's a very important. Now you're going to understand me very well. I'm in communication with the tax team of the kidnappings. So General Mkhwanazi, they asked them for some help as the political killing tax team. But General Mkhwanazi, remember, he's not on the ground. He doesn't go to raids. He's only briefed. There's what we call, there's a message on the WhatsApp group when generals are briefed. They are not operational. They are briefed. The message will say, "Good morning, General. This is the information. We are following up on this, or this was the raid. This is what has happened," and the likes. So unfortunately, on this one, he was never briefed my involvement fully when it comes to the kidnapping tax team on the job that I do and the communication and the analysis that I do.
But
for
the
them.
answer to what is the answer to the question that says, is your role official within the work that you do with the kidnappings task team?
Yes, it is official. It is official. There's even documents of exchange from the tax team, which I myself personally, I will give them information. They'll send back the information.
Sure.
So it is official. It is known. Even the family, they know that.
So because of time, let me go back to the original question then. Why do you then, if you are engaged with the SAPS in the official way that you describe, also involved and friends with someone like Vusumuzi Ket Matlala to the extent of sharing the advertisement of the position of the head of the DPCI, the Hawks? Why were you even sharing that with him?
Yeah. like I said, with the issues of security, close protection, at the time I needed a job. So I sent him that post, and not only him, then he bragged to me on the 11th of February that that position is earmarked for General Sevilla. Then after 2 days, I wrote to General Fadima Semola to say, we've got a problem. Why is the position advertised and already earmarked? Then I also wrote to Parliament. I've got proof of emails. I also wrote to the police secretariat because they are the one who advertised. Then the post was then stopped and then it was re-advertised. To date, nobody has filled that space. But it shows that even once I receive information, I channel it to the relevant structure. So basically my role again is I'm the eyes and the ears of the police, and officially so, by the way.
But you've known all along that this is a man that allegedly is a criminal.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about, covert operation. There are certain information that one has to be close to him to find out what is his role in some of these dealings that we are busy investigating. So I'm officially on the task with the political, with the kidnapping task team. And there's proof of that exchange of information. I collect the data on behalf of the police. So that is my role.
So as part of that official, as part of that, then did you ask him, because he's been, as you rightly say, his name has been mentioned in connection with the disappearance of this businessman that you say you also knew from, way back when you were still growing up, Jerry Boshoga. Did you ask him about that? What's his explanation? What's Kat Matlala's explanation of that, how that went down?
Yes, so his explanation, he gave an explanation that he knows nothing. They were in also another business together, but he knows nothing. He heard about the allegation. But remember, with me as an investigator, it doesn't stop there. I'll never just take his word. So that's why I'm saying certain information, certain sensitive information of finding out what is perhaps his latest number or his hidden number.
Yeah.
Then already my cover is blown.
Yeah.
Then I channel that to the police. Then we scrutinize.
Lastly,
the
then, Kelvin, do you not feel that you should have disclosed to South Africans when they trust you as a commentator, research associate, University of Joburg, not knowing that you have these linkages with crime fighting in an official capacity, but also with the relationships that you have with characters such as Vusumuzi Kat Matlala? It was only fair that you should have disclosed, no?
Yes, that's exactly what I've done. Not my full name was mentioned. It was Mukhwana said Rafadi, but I don't want to speak about Rafadi.
No, I'm saying you should have disclosed whenever we engaged you on these official platforms.
No, definitely I did. No, that's the first thing I did. I jumped and said the Rafadi they are talking about.
No,
yes,
I'm saying in previous interactions. So let me explain my question. When we engage you as a commentator on issues of crime, the question that has arisen from our listeners, for example, has been, but you as media have been bringing this Calvin Rafadi and saying this is an expert in crime fighting. You never mentioned that this is a friend / associate or source of the SAPS or someone who works with the SAPS. You should have disclosed that, is what I'm saying.
I'm very happy I'm on SABC. Now, if you go on my interview with Calvin Brudler, previously, some time ago, months ago, before even the commission, or before even the setting up of the commission, I did disclose about Matlala. We did an interview at Honeydew Police Station. The archive is there. You can Google Calvin and Calvin, your colleague. I did disclose. I did speak about the issues of security, knowing Matlala, and I even went further to say what General Mukhwana is saying is the truth, because I know how even information was the chain of custody obtained.
Yeah. So lastly then, is it your final version with us this morning that you've been doing work and it's been official on the books with the SAPS, and therefore if we ask them, they will confirm that they know Calvin Rafadi, they work with Calvin Rafadi in an official capacity, and basically your cover is blown now?
Definitely. That's what you can do. And what I've done as well as being a former informant, I used to collect gratitude. Nowadays, I don't even do that. I collect appraisal letters. That is on a format and a letterhead of the police and stamped by every unit that I work with. And I've got plenty of that. I can even email it or make it available. Indeed, that can be confirmed. It is in black and white.
Having had your cover blown in the way that has happened, do you fear for your life in any way?
Well, yes, of course I do fear for my life. They are very sensitive investigations that I've done. In fact, most of them, they are even known. Where police sometimes they struggle, there's a dead end. I go and infiltrate and I crack those cases. Sometimes I've even been mandated by the family. Now I'm working on a very sensitive international case. Of course, I do fear for my life if the cover is being blown. But my worry is, I always come out advocating how people should keep safe, exposing modus operandi of criminals. But now the trust deficit between myself now, I'm seen as this person who's now communicating with the underworld as if now I've interfered in the police work.
Thank you for your time this morning. Calvin Rafadi, crime expert and research associate at the University of Joburg.
In fitness, as in finance, endurance is key. If you're 55 and older, you can get an interest rate of up to 10.62% with a Nedbank Electronic Optimum Plus account. Now feel the earn. Invest in under 2 minutes on the Money app and get money fit with Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply. For more info, visit nedbank.co.za.
Mzansi, your dreams could take flight when you play Powerball and Powerball Plus for a massive 152 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday. That's right, play Powerball for an estimated 83 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 69 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial star 120 star 7529 hash for USSD. Panda, Pusha, Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
This is SAFM Sport with Zai Khan.
All right, I've got to explain that we're going to have to take Professor Nimala Gopal just after we do the news headlines. That conversation with Calvin Rafadi stretching a little bit longer, and we needed to do that to just get all the answers that we believe you deserve. So we'll talk to Professor Nimala Gopal, my apologies, just after 7:30. But for now, Zaikan, talk to me about Carling Knockout Cup.
Oh.
The draw has been done, has it?
Yeah, and the fans are already dizzy because
dizzy like me.
I think we're all in that same pot. But you know what? We've got Kaizer Chiefs and Pirates as well. I think this is going to be a recipe for debate a long, long time. It's the round of 16. Chiefs, they have a tough one. They'll face Stellenbosch FC. Meanwhile, the reigning champions, Magesi, begin their title defense away to Amazulu. Other fixtures, Pirates will play Siwelele. Orbit College welcome TS Galaxy, and Sundowns will be hosting Maruma Gallants. Now, he was inspired by his recent call-up is the Bafana and Mamelodi Sundowns right back, Zuko Mdonyelwa. He was speaking ahead of the clash with Maruma Gallants, the former Chippa United defender, making it clear that they will be determined to push beyond the last 16.
It's a great draw for us as Mamelodi Sundowns, and it's a fixture that we're looking forward to. And, it's a great platform, giving us a platform to put our best foot forward. I answered that to other journalists, and my response was, to dwell on the past, it doesn't help too much as a football player. The good thing is we have a chance to look forward into the future, which is a good thing. So going into this fixture, we're looking forward to win the game go into the next round.
More soccer, the Siwelele head coach Lehlonolo Siema remains determined to steer his side out of early season trouble. They prepare to face Orlando Pirates at the Free State Stadium. That's tonight, 7:30 p.m. Despite a promising start with a 3-1 win over Golden Arrows on the 9th of August, the newly formed Bloemfontein outfit are looking forward to having been back into top flight, they're struggling to find consistency, collecting just 1 point from their last 6 matches. Cricket, the South African women were defeated by Pakistan in the third and final ODI in Lahore, losing by 6 wickets with 114 balls remaining after being bowled out for just 115. Now, despite the loss, the Proteas women take the series 2-1. Swimming South Africa President Alan Fritz has told SABC Sport that the Federation will meet the Sports Minister Gayton McKenzie to address the budget cuts that are affecting the sport. Swimming South Africa is amongst the federations that have had 2 million rand cut from their funding allocation. The minister has agreed to meet Fritz and his team to explore the impact of the cuts.
Okay. We highlighted to the minister that, look, the budget cuts would put sports back. We wanted to make that very clear. The minister said, guys, go and draw up your list of your requirements. We're going to meet, I can't recall over it's 30 or 60 days, we're going to meet and we're going to listen to all your issues, and we will make a decision based on what you've told us. That was our parting shot.
And that's your sport. We'll be back top of the hour with more sport making waves. I'm Zaikan.
Good morning, I'm Anne Musa. In the headlines, political analyst Dr. Dale McKinley says National Police Commissioner Fani Masimola attempted to abdicate responsibility for the disbandment of the KwaZulu-Natal Political Killings Task Team yesterday. Masimola appeared before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry to testify about the disbandment of the team. President Cyril Ramaphosa and his counterparts Donald Trump from the US and Lula da Silva from Brazil will be among the speakers at the annual general debate of the United Nations General Assembly later today. And 12 men are expected to appear in the Zeerust Magistrates Court in the northwest today. They were arrested following shooting incidents in Marula Kop village last Tuesday. I'll have details on these and other stories at 8.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. Quite simply, there are a couple of routes around Gauteng that you just want to avoid and stay away from. Even if you've got to travel further, it's going to get you to your destination quicker. It's one of those sort of mornings, if you like. We're talking the N1 North, a major crashing up at Olifantsfontein. If you're on your way to Pretoria, rethink your routing. There's a standstill from Allendale Road through New Road and up to Olifantsfontein Road. Now, southbound, even worse because of the onlooking factor. Everybody coming out of Pretoria on the high volume is currently sitting across all lanes from Brockfontein all the way down to the crash at Olifantsfontein. All the side roads, the Pretoria Main, the old Joburg Road, the approaches like Olifantsfontein, you can imagine absolute car park craziness through there trying to get to or off the highway. It's really busy on that mid-round corridor this morning. The other one to just stay well away from is the N3 South from Buccleuch down to Linksfield. As you come down from Modderfontein to Linksfield, you drop into a single lane section, one lane open to process all that rush hour traffic. It is crazy busy. Stay off between Buccleuch and Edenvale. And then going northbound, the roadworks that have been there since Saturday on a full-time basis at Buccleuch are still there, so really heavy from Edenvale going up to Buccleuch. So the N3 both ways. Just pick some alternative routes and stay off it. You can get where you're going without that sort of hassle of roadwork delays. Across in Durban, it's wet this morning, so take it easy. Lots of bumps and shunts all over town. Jackknife truck M7 away from the bluff under the M4. That's heavy. The M4 from Jacobs making your way up to Umbilo in the city-bound carriageway. That's really heavy. And a lot of pressure around Pinetown, both the M7 and Stapleton roads going up towards Josiah Gormedi, very heavy. In Cape Town, a serious crash on the N2 into town this morning at the airport exit. Traffic driving into that scene backed all the way heavily across all lanes from around about Spine Road at Khayelitsha. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
The business update on SAFM.
All right, let's turn to Ndauling once again. Ndauling, tell me about confidence among retailers and wholesalers. What happened with that confidence in quarter 3?
So retailers and wholesalers are less optimistic about the operating environment, according to a survey by the Bureau for Economic Research that tracks sentiment in those sectors. Signs are pointing to slowing consumer demand in the third quarter after a period of consistent growth. Now, retail confidence dropped to 32% from 42% in the second quarter, slipping below the long-term average of 40% for the first time in a year. Despite this, profitability in the retail sector held steady, with most activity levels broadly aligned with historical trends. Wholesalers also reported a decline in sentiment, with confidence falling from 50% to 38% after 5 consecutive quarters above the long-term average. Now, the BER noted that while business conditions showed a slight improvement, they still remained weaker than the average rate. In contrast, new vehicle dealers experienced a sharp uptick in optimism, with confidence rising by 12 points to 54%, the highest level since 2022. Now, while the survey is mostly downbeat, economists remain optimistic, saying that low inflation, interest rate cuts, and recently sealed wage deals will continue to boost households, in turn boost sales at stores.
So this brand seems to be quite strong in Botswana, and maybe you'll tell me the reason. Choppies. They've been in South Africa, but you're saying they're exiting and they're selling their Joyelani outlets.
Yes, that's right, Thulas. The Botswana-based retailer seems to only be doing good on its home ground, which is Botswana. It's not only exited South Africa. Over the past few months, it's exited other African markets like Kenya and Tanzania, and it seems to just be struggling with markets outside of Botswana. This time around, it's entered a binding agreement to sell its Joyelani chain of 45 community stores and its KZN meat processing plant to the Shanghai Itai Consortium, a black-owned grouping led by Shanghai Retail Investments. Now, the deal has been backed by ShopRite and still requires approval from regulators, but is expected to close before the end of November. The chief executive of Shanghai, Thulasizwe Simelane, said the new owners intend to reposition Joyelani as a neighborhood discount retailer, while also developing a food supply network that promotes Black-owned farmers and producers. She said these stores enjoy strong brand loyalty, and that the objective is to reconnect with their customer base and restore their role in local communities. For Choppies, the sale marks the latest step in pulling away from markets that have proved unprofitable. In recent years, the group, of course, as mentioned, ditched operations in Tanzania, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe in favor of focusing on territories it's proven to be more resilient in, like its home ground, its home territory, Botswana.
All right, lastly, Ntaoleng, recap the markets for us. How are we looking at this hour?
Kicking things off in Asia, stocks mixed, with the Shanghai Composite and the Hong Kong Hang Seng taking strain as Asian tech firms trend lower, the likes of Baidu being beaten down over 6% this hour. Over in Wall Street, futures are flat despite yesterday's strong finish. Traders are digesting deals in the tech sector while awaiting the PCE print, and that out on Friday. And then coming back home, stocks closing in the red, with the all share shedding 0.14%. Looking at currencies, the rand remaining stable at 17.35 to the greenback this hour. Over in the commodities scene, oil trending lower, just above $65 per barrel this morning.
All right, Ntaoleng, thank you for that. We'll touch base with you once again just after 8:30.
You are the biggest saver we've ever had.
2,794 Rand a month. It was the easiest switch ever.
What was the real deal they could offer you?
870.
That's amazing. You're always getting something out.
Yeah.
I've been battling to get nice car insurance. Outsurance, I found them. I'm saving a cool $360.
Get the real deal with the real savings.
I made the right move.
Go to outsurance.co.za now for a 10-minute quote that could save you thousands.
Just phone Outsurance, get a quote and see what they can offer you. If you don't save that 321 like I did, you might say get a 500 or $1,000 back. Service and savings, you'll always get something out. How is it that Outsurance provided the solution for you?
918 Rand is what I'm saving.
Incredible. What brought you and Outsurance together?
718 Rand. I end up saving.
They gave you the real deal.
It literally is the real deal.
Go to outsurance.co.za now for a 10-minute quote that could save you thousands. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
Dis-Chem has the best deals just for you, with everything you need on your healthy living journey. Buy 3, get the cheapest free on the Future Life range for nutrient-rich meals for the whole family. Get 2+1 cheapest free on all delicious traditionally baked Alet's rusks and save 20% on Primal Apple Cider Vinegar 120 capsules to boost your metabolism. Offers valid until 19 October at Dischem, your healthy living destination. Better health starts here.
Across South Africa, online and on radio. SAFM, let's talk.
All right, let's pick up the conversation about the Madlanga Commission, especially the testimony of the National Police Commissioner, Fani Masemola, which started yesterday. I'm joined now by Professor Nimala Devi Gopal, who is academic leader in the discipline of criminology and forensic studies at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. Prof, good morning and thank you for your time. And I've got to apologize for the delay in getting to you, simply because the conversation we had that we had lined up before you went on a bit longer, and it needed to get us all the answers that we wanted. But just your overall reflections, Prof, on the testimony of the National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola yesterday. Did you get the answers to the questions that perhaps exercised your mind about such activities as the instruction to wind down the work of the political killings task team?
Good morning, Thulasizwe. Good morning to your viewers. Yeah, I think first of all it was, really astonishing, I think, his testimony. And whilst I think, when you watch the actual, his actual testimony, and you can see that he was a bit shady every now and again, lacked a bit of confidence in wanting to confirm what General Mponazi had actually testified. I think the important thing for us and for myself is the fact that he was able to corroborate the information that was produced by General Mponazi.
So by that, do you mean the aspects that have to do with the way that the now on leave minister, Senzo Mchunu, acted and just this overall sense of discontent about his instructions to wind down the task team?
Yes, although I don't, as Justice Madlanga was interrogating him further in terms of acting and taking an instruction that's unlawful. The fact that he went ahead and he allowed this to happen. But I think what gives us a little bit of reprieve is the fact that he has corroborated the fact that Minister Mchunu had overstepped his line of duty.
So beyond the personalities and perhaps the intrigues that have to do with how this particular issue played itself out, what is the big discussion point that you are picking up from the Commission around the delineation of lines between what is executive, authority mandate in terms of the Constitution and what is operational? Are you getting any clearer, or are you hoping that this whole exercise in the end will lead to better clarity? Because there was that back and forth, right, where he was being asked, where do you define for yourself where the minister's authority ends and yours starts?
Yes, for sure. So I think what this is bringing to the fore is the fact that there's hesitation to question superiors. And if that hesitation continues to exist, especially in important ministries, going forward, how would we ever be able to restore accountability? He was afraid that if he didn't agree with the minister, and as he mentioned, that would be career limiting. I mean, for me, that was a little bit. It was putting his own needs before those of the country. And if that kind of power relation exists in our government departments, what kind of future do we expect for our citizens? So I worry about the power relations, the fact that we are afraid to question our superiors, regardless of whether the act or the instruction is unlawful. So we could go ahead and implement a range of unlawful actions or instructions, and there's no moral compass for it. So for me, that is an issue. The fact that we are questioned.
Yeah, and other systems, Prof, that are in place that would allow for that kind of, ability to object to carrying out an unlawful instruction. It's an age-old question, isn't it? I mean, it has reared its head even in other contexts, in the military, in the United States in particular. It's a constant debate, but also we saw it here at home during the Zondo Commission hearings. Are we any clearer as to what are the rules and guardrails where I can say that I simply refuse, as much as this is a command-based organization, I simply refuse to carry out that instruction because it is unlawful?
So, Thulasizwe, I think the one thing that we should not take away from all of these commissions, etc., is the fact that there is a human element. And in as much as we can have laws and we can have procedures, etc., how strong is the human element to resist this and to make sure that I am accountable, I hold others accountable, etc. Now let's play a particular scenario out. Let's hypothetically say that the National Commissioner was appointed through maybe not very fair procedures, etc. And perhaps he owes the minister. So in those instances, especially when you have some kind of nepotism or bias or subjectivity that influences these appointments, I think it becomes very difficult then to actually hold those people accountable. And perhaps we need to drill right down to how we, at the appointment level, are our processes rigid? Do we have a fair hiring committee, etc.?
Gotcha.
So I think it's a little bit more complex than the way in which we see it.
All right, I've got to thank you for your time and your insights this morning. Professor Nimala Devi Gopal, who is academic leader in the discipline of criminology and forensic studies at the University of KwaZulu-Natal.
Who's behind the mask? A singing pineapple? A disco dancing dokolosh? It can only mean one thing. It's the Masked Singer US Season 9, the only show where celebrities hide behind wild costumes and even wilder vocals. Is that Beyonce? No. It's your dentist dressed as a giant taco. Unmask the madness, the mystery, and the mayhem. Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. on S3. S3's got the masks, the music, and maybe your favorite celeb in a flamingo suit. Don't miss it.
We all know a Miss Sarah, that parent who randomly calls to check up on you.
Mjanam, when are you visiting?
She knows that every call or text goes towards her free funeral cover. She'll keep calling until she spent at least 120 Rand a month.
Mara, why haven't you accepted my friend request? Huh?
For every convo or scroll, you get 10,000 Rand free funeral cover. Recharge with 120 Rand every month to get covered. No paperwork, debit orders, or medicals. Recharge on the VodaPay app or dial *123#. T's and C's apply. Underwritten by Vodacom Life Assurance Company, a licensed life insurer. Further together, Vodacom.
Embark on your journey to success with the Durban University of Technology. Applications for 2026 first-year students are now open across our 6 faculties. Closing dates will rise, so don't wait. Check detailed entry requirements on dut.ac.za. Apply today through the Central Applications Office at cao.ac.za. DUT and Vision 2030, creative, distinctive, impactful.
Call Thulasizwe now, 086 000 2032.
Let me go to a call from Sive in Gqeberha. Good morning to you, Sive. Short and sharp for me, please.
Good morning, Thulasizwe. How are you?
Very well, how are you?
Yeah, no, Thulasizwe. Helen Zille, you know the saying that says dynasties fall. Yeah? Helen Zille is being offloaded by the boys away from Cape Town, so that she does not meddle with the upcoming power of J.P. Smith. And John knows very well that in Johannesburg, Cisco is gonna be there. You can never, but don't get me wrong, man.
Yes.
You will never get a person who does not have a black pigmented skin there leading, because apartheid was at the center of that place, Soweto and everything. The only person with a light skin who could have emerged in a Gauteng could have been Joseph, nobody else. So Zille, we are offload very smart, because there's no way Helen Zille will win Gauteng.
So for you, it's all political chess that is being played within the DA itself.
Gogo. Bafana bakagogo bam-offloada ngoku.
All right, Sive, I hear you. Let's hear what other listeners have to say. That's Sive out in Kabeja. Quick one or two voice notes reflecting on the conversation we just had with Kelvin Rafadi.
Hello, Thulas. Yo, Rafadi. Ha, 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 ha. I remember during the days of ANN7, there was a fellow there, he used to be an analyst of economics. It was said he was from Wits University. Rafati, ha 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 ha. Ncamile, Phumzile, Eastern Cape.
Morning, FM listeners. Morning, Thulasizwe. Thulasizwe, Mr. Rafadi is not an honorable person, I would say. My reason is that you cannot go around and blow your cover to say you are and doing COVID work and whatsoever to with the police and all that. I mean, as a crime expert and all those things that he has been mentioned about you, it's concerning. Maybe his credentials also need to be verified, because now his story doesn't make sense at all. Z from the country.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Very good morning. We've termed it Heavy Tuesday today because there's some routes that you just want to avoid. One of those is the N1 North through Midrand. A crash at Olifantsfontein earlier. Traffic currently parked back to Allendale. That's on your way to Pretoria. It's heavy. And then southbound coming through Brockfontein all the way down to Olifantsfontein. Heavy with the onlooking factor and the Great Way to traffic. And then routes that feed into the N1 are just heavily backed up, particularly Olifants, the alternative Pretoria Main Road, very heavy as well. The other big one, and the one to stay well away from, is the N3 South. Unbelievably, there's only one lane open this morning to get you down through between Modderfontein and Linksfield. Now, the queue literally starts at Allendale on the N1 South and just after Rivonia on the N1 North. Both of those highways into Buccleuch, absolutely solid all the way down through Limbo Park, Alex, and all the way passing Edenvale towards Linksfield Road. Just stay off that N3 South. And it's worth avoiding the N3 North as well. Same sort of deal. Multiple lanes closed for roadworks. I don't know what Sanrail are up to these days, but putting these sort of restrictions in at peak hour is crazy. N3 North at Buccleuch, and that's a parking lot right back to Modderfontein as well. So N3 Highway, Galulis to Buccleuch, just choose an alternative route, stay well away from it. Mike 1 from Boysons up to Parktown is pretty heavy as well. Durban, lots going on there. A crash before Gateway. If you're coming in from the airport, the N2 South is heavy. Broken down bus on the Komashu Highway at the N2. That's really bad out of Komashu this morning. The N2 North queuing heavily from the M7 through to Umgeni Road. Jackknife truck on the M7 away from the Bluff at the M4. That's heavy. And a crash on the M7 Bluff bound at the N2. And that's heavy from Queensborough. And then big traffic into Pinetown this morning. Some roadworks on Stapleton Road up by Josiah Gomedi. And then the M7 also heavy going in towards the St. John's Avenue Bridge territory of Pinetown. Cape Town, big queues on the N2 are still with us. A fatal crash just by the airport exit. Traffic driving in on the N2s all the way back through to Spine Road at Khayelitsha. Make sure you got plenty of time to get through that. And a crash on Stellenbosch Arterial coming out of Kales River towards the R300. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
Thulasizwe Simelane on SAFM.
It's coming up to 6 minutes to 8. Let's turn to this now. Public Works and Infrastructure Minister Dean McPherson has applauded the Construction Industry Development Board, the CIDB, for blacklisting 40 contractors since June 2024. He calls it a decisive step to restoring accountability and improving public infrastructure delivery. The CIDB has blacklisted these 40 contractors for non-performance and corruption, the most significant action in over 2 decades, because only one company had been blacklisted since 2002. So let's speak to the minister then. Dean McPherson joins me now to take that conversation forward. Good morning to you and thank you for your time, Minister. I was saying we've gone from 0 to 100 real fast. Only one company blacklisted since 2002 to have 40 suddenly blacklisted. How do you explain that jump in numbers? Is it because there's always been the need and errant contractors have been there, just not being acted against, or is this an escalation on your part for one reason or another?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm not going to talk for what happened before I came into office, but I've made a determination that since I've been in office that we're going to sweep clean, we're going to make sure that we do our best to deliver, and that starts by making sure that we have the best people on site to perform for us. And clearly, it's evident that for the longest time we haven't been able to deliver projects on time and on budget. Part of that reason is because we appoint the wrong people. We appoint people who have no clue about how to build anything, let alone deal with complex infrastructure projects. We pay them millions of rands up front, and then we scratch our heads as to why they ran off and didn't deliver anything. So we've been very clear that if you're not going to perform, if you're not going to deliver, we're going to blacklist you, and that's not just from doing business with the department, but with the state in its entirety. And secondly, we also come after you and make sure that we recoup that money, which we've already successfully done in one case through the SIU. Obviously, we have to subject ourselves to the court to get those orders, but we want to make sure that we close the gaps on all sides, and that people that we appoint are actually going to deliver for us.
What are the typical infractions that are involved on the part of these contractors in relation to infrastructure projects for the state? What typically happens that leads to a company ending up in the books as has happened now?
Well, often Thulasizwe, we pay these people upfront payments. They're called prepayments. Now, if you and I built a house, you pay your contractors on the completion of work. For some strange reason, in the public space, we pay people sometimes up to 50% of the value of the project, and then we wonder why they don't deliver it at all. One of the other reasons is that some of them are just incomplete. Some of them are just so badly done that you can't get any occupation certificates in terms of accommodation. Sometimes they aren't even built at all. And so those are some of the reasons that we see. And, we only have ourselves to blame. Thulasizwe, if you're going to appoint someone who registered a business 3 months before they are awarded a tender, you're asking for trouble. So, we are very cognizant that, of course, as the state, we have a role to play in developing businesses and helping businesses grow, but that must be balanced against the rights and interests of the public and the state, because it is the public's money that we are using. So there's got to be a better balance in the way in which we do things. It can't just be heavily skewed towards contractors, and the state has to continually pick up the tab. So we've appointed a new head of supply chain management in the department, very experienced lady with experience in treasury within SOEs. So I'm convinced that she's also going to be able to tighten up the way in which we award tenders and the way in which we also monitor them as well.
Yeah, in fact, you preempted, in a way, part of my next question. How do you intend practically to strike that balance that you clearly have identified that needs to be struck between being punitive, rightly punitive, for those contractors that underperform and sometimes just take full advantage of the system, and those contractors that need a leg up, the contractors that are not necessarily there in terms of their capacity but can be assisted to perform at a higher level. The state has that wherewithal to drive that particular ability to grow businesses.
Absolutely, and that's why we use our CIDB grading tool, so that certain projects are determined that only a higher grade person may be or company may be awarded to do so. And in that, we also have a responsibility through our own project development programs to help people. But I think that it's unhelpful both to them and to the state award a contract to someone who doesn't have the capacity to deliver, maybe they benefit, but we certainly don't. So, that balance is important. And, maybe we should stop, the practices that we have of awarding tenders to companies that don't have the capacity and rather bring them in as partners and through our development and capacity programs help them to escalate up the delivery chain.
All right, I've got to thank you for your time this morning. That is Minister Dean McPherson, Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, talking to us about a sharp jump in the number of companies that have been blacklisted from doing business with the state, contractors that have been blacklisted from doing business with the state, from only one between 2002 and until 2024, June thereabouts, and having 40 between June 2024 and now. So really a rapid rise in the numbers there. So let's go straight to Ann Musa with the latest news.
Outsurance will go out of their way to try and save you money on your car insurance. If they can't, ask for 500 Rand. Time to switch and save. Call 0800 60,000 today.
In our top stories, political analyst weighs in on Masimula's testimony and rhino poaching remains a major concern. Good morning. Political analyst Dr. Dale McKinley says National Police Commissioner Fani Masimula attempted to abdicate responsibility for the disbandment of the KwaZulu-Natal Political Killings Task Team. Masimula appeared before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry yesterday to testify about the disbandment of the team. The issue is at the center of an investigation into allegations of criminality, political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system. Masimula said the embattled police minister, Senzo Mchunu, ordered the disbandment of the task team, describing his actions as a total encroachment on his constitutional authority. McKinley, however, suggests Masimula might not be entirely blameless in this matter.
We don't have all the facts in this particular instance, so it's going to play itself out. But if, for example, General Masemola is making these kinds of allegations and saying it's really the minister's fault, he didn't know that he wanted to disband this political task team and everything else, well, then the question is whether operational people in those positions, the commissioner himself, doing their job. And the answer in this case is probably not. So I think we have to also look at both sides of this picture. It's not just politicians interfering. It's those who are public servants who themselves might not be doing their job and then try to wiggle their way out of it once they're caught.
President Cyril Ramaphosa and his counterparts Donald Trump from the US and Lula da Silva from Brazil will be among the speakers at the annual general debate of the United Nations General Assembly later today. Ramaphosa is expected to call on the UN to demonstrate multilateralism is alive. The White House says Trump will deliver a major speech on the renewal of American strength around the world. Showan Price Peace reports.
Trump returns to the UN after a 4-year absence, having riled foes and allies alike since returning to the White House in January, and the reception he'll receive will be closely watched over US tariffs and its support for Israel's continued war in Gaza that has bucked international calls for an immediate ceasefire. President Lula speaks directly before Trump amid a tense standoff over Brazil's conviction of Trump ally and former President Jair Bolsonaro for seeking to illegally cling to power. President Ramaphosa is expected to again reiterate calls for the UN to exercise its leadership role in global governance and actively enforce international law and human rights standards for all and not merely a select few.
12 men are expected to appear in the Zeerust Magistrates Court in the northwest today. They were arrested following shooting incidents in Marula Kop village last Tuesday. Police say preliminary investigations indicate conflict between two security companies led to the attack in which a man was killed. The conflict is over a chrome mining area. A taxi driver was also kidnapped and later rescued after the incident in which 5 other people were wounded. Police spokesperson Sabata Mukhobone.
Following the incident that occurred on Tuesday last week, we have arrested 12 people. Among others, they are facing counts of attempted murder and unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition. The case was postponed for bail application and further investigation. I must also indicate that over the weekend we have also arrested 2 people for theft of firearms and unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition.
The World Wildlife Fund has warned rhino in South Africa face extinction if government does not provide resources to sustain the fight against continuing poaching. The fund's program manager for South Africa, Jeff Cook, has described rhino poaching as one of the country's toughest conservation hurdles. His comment comes after World Rhino Day, which was observed yesterday.
Rhinos face 2 main threats: ongoing poaching threat and a loss of habitat. At WWF, we are working to address these twin threats through a variety of interventions. These include supporting dehorning efforts in KwaZulu-Natal, implementing ranger wellness programs to help improve the working conditions for those who look after our rhinos, as well as our highly successful black rhino range expansion project, which moves black rhinos to new conservation areas where they can breed and thrive.
And finally, the American chip maker NVIDIA says it will invest up to $100 billion or more than 17 billion rand in OpenAI to build database infrastructure for the next generation of artificial intelligence. The CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, says the tie-up with NVIDIA would form the basis of the economy of the future. The BBC's Aaron Dalmore reports.
It's a blockbuster deal, and it's a credit to the demand for new AI technology, like OpenAI's ChatGPT. While OpenAI makes the artificial intelligence chatbot, NVIDIA makes the high-powered chips that enable its use. NVIDIA makes specialized processors or chips that are used for large language models like ChatGPT, and that's what lets the technology process data and execute tasks. So a deal like this brings the 2 technology giants closer together. NVIDIA reportedly is receiving a stake in OpenAI as part of the deal.
Recapping the top story, political analyst Dr. Dale McKinley says National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola attempted to abdicate responsibility for the disbandment of the KwaZulu-Natal Political Killing Stars team. Masemola appeared before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry yesterday to testify about the disbandment of the team. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
Outsurance will go out of their way to try and save you money on your car insurance. If they can't, ask for 500 Rand. Visit outsurance.co.za today. You always get something out.
Just phone Outsurance, get a quote and see what they can offer you. If you don't save that 321 like I did, you might get a 500 or $1,000 back. Service and savings, you'll always get something out.
How is it that Outsurance provided the solution for you?
918 Rand is what I'm saving.
Incredible! What brought you and Outsurance together?
718 Rand. I end up saving.
They gave you the real deal.
It literally is the real deal.
Go to outsurance.co.za now for a 10-minute quote that could save you thousands. Licensed insurer and FSP, T's, C's and information online.
It's a very good morning to you. In your SFM Sports Headlines, soccer action. Orlando Pirates are looking for more points as they take on struggling Siwelele tonight. And we also bring you the Springbok powerhouse. Andre Esterhuizen says the South African squad, well, they are preparing for a bruising battle when they face Argentina in the Rugby Championship clash at Kings Park this Saturday. We'll have details just before 8:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. Here's the one to avoid through Joburg this morning, the N3. Wherever you're going, avoid it between Galuli's interchange and Buccleuch interchange in both directions. There are roadworks going north at Buccleuch with multiple lanes closed. There are roadworks going south at Linksfield with just one lane open. It is a car park both directions. It is solid, it is thick, it is heavy. Stay off the N3 highway this morning, effectively Linksfield through to Buccleuch interchange. The N1 north up through Midrand direction Pretoria is still being badly held up by a crash at Olifantsfontein Road. Traffic queuing from Allendale southbound badly backed up through Brockfontein all the way down to Olifants and onto New Road as well. The Mike 1 Boyson through to Parktown pretty heavy on your way up through the Crown towards Sandton this morning. Durban, a broken down bus on the Commarshu Highway at the N2, very heavy coming out of the Commarshu side. M7 into Pinetown's heavy. Stapleton Road into Pinetown quite heavy into some works as well. Crash on the M7 away from the bluff at the M4 highway. That's heavy. And the N2 North backing up from the M7 right through to Umgena Road side this morning. Cape Town, a serious crash on the N2 inbound at the airport. Traffic driving in on Route 2 is backed as far as Spine Road at Khayelitsha. Give yourself plenty of time to get through and to get to those flight connections. And the N1 inbound pretty sluggish this morning. Plattercliff side right through to the city centre. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
9 minutes after 8. Welcome to it, the third hour of the Morning Brief on SAFM 104 to 107. Before we get into the conversations we have lined up for you over the next half hour, let me read and reflect on one or two of the messages that you have sent me in the last while. Many of them actually have to do with the conversation that we had with Calvin Rafadi, in which he was explaining his relationship with Vusumuzi Ket Matlala and some of the revelations from the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. So this one person says, this Calvin Rafadi should not have done these interviews and just waited for his day at the commission. He's digging himself deeper with each comment. And then someone else says, this guy is not make sure. South Africa, we can do better. And then another person says, on Calvin Rafadi, yeah, I also do business with David Tlale and we share the same background, but I deny any links to the fashion industry. So, okay, what a way to put it there. Let me just read one more and then we can get into the show. Then someone, Jen in Cape Town, says, if anyone is still unclear about how deep the corruption goes in the ANC, then all this should highlight that. I pray that we can save South Africa so we can truly have a better life for all, says Jen in Cape Town. So reflecting, I suppose, there, Jen, among other things, some of the revelations we're hearing from the Madlanga Commission, but also I imagine some of what we've heard from the Police Commissioner, General Fani Masemola. I'll take your calls. The number 086 000 2032. Your WhatsApp voice notes 0614 104 107. Let's get into it then. The third hour of the Morning Brief on this Tuesday.
September is Deaf Awareness Month, a time to celebrate the deaf community, promote inclusion, empowerment, and break communication barriers. Let's listen with our hearts and not our ears. Learn and embrace a South African sign language. Join us throughout September for commemoration events, activities that educate, connect, and inspire. Visit our website, foundationnima.org, for more information. This is an SABC-supported initiative.
The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane.
12 minutes after 8. Let's have a bit of this conversation about eye care and what they call preventable blindness. It's Eye Care Awareness Month, and that runs between the 20th of September and the 17th of October. It highlights the importance of vision care. Ophthalmologists, yeah, say it slowly, Thulasizwe. Don't rush. This one will trip you up. Ophthalmologists warn that rising type 2 diabetes rates are accelerating cataract cases, which is the leading cause of preventable blindness globally. So let's speak to Dr. Jonelle Stephen, who is a member of the Ophthalmological Association of South Africa. Good morning to you, Doc, and thank you for your time. I have a feeling that your profession, you guys, the name of your profession, you've been sent this morning to trip me up. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Yes, thank you for having me. This is why I normally introduce myself as an eye doctor. I think that's much simpler.
That'll work for me. So tell me about, we're talking about Eye Care Awareness Month, and we're talking about causes of preventable blindness. And I was thinking about this conversation, and the immediate one that came to my mind: are we exposed to more visual stimuli, lots of light intensity that may be over and above compounding the situation as it has existed until now?
Yes, that's a very interesting comment. I mean, the main reason why people have visual loss, our main cause of visual loss in South Africa and blindness is still, unfortunately, cataracts, which is very sad because it's a completely preventable and treatable cause. And cataracts, yes, the main risk factor for developing cataract is still aging, something we can't do very much about yet, hopefully one day in the future. But otherwise, yes, UV light has been shown to possibly play a role. And therefore, we do advise people, sunglasses and hats may play a role in helping you develop cataracts slower.
So tell me a bit more about cataracts and our ability or otherwise to grapple with that phenomenon within the healthcare system, as well as early screening and ability to intervene quite early.
Yes. So cataracts in South Africa, like I mentioned, remains a very big problem. And that's mainly because our public hospitals are so overwhelmed by the immense number of cataracts that need to be operated on. And you'll be well aware of the shortages in ophthalmologists, the equipment and the consumables. And this leaves many patients waiting for years for their treatment. And it has a major impact, not just on the person themselves, but also on the whole community and the family. Often, especially in the rural communities, there may be a child who has to stay at home to look after granny who can't see. And it's just very sad. It's been shown that if you do a cataract operation on a blind patient, it frees up to 6 family members who were impacted by that person not being able to care for themselves before. So it does remain a big problem in South Africa. So our public hospitals are trying their best with the limited resources they have, but specifically for Eye Care Awareness Month, the Ophthalmic Society of South Africa have a right to sight trust, and with donations from sponsors and then the kind offering of private hospitals and private ophthalmologists of their time and facilities, we're aiming to do about 1,000 free cataract surgeries in 2025 for financially needing patients with advanced cataracts, about 700 of those during this month of Eye Care Awareness. So about just to try and help a little bit with that.
So what's the spread? How are you looking to achieve this target of 1,000 operations within this month? 700 within this month, 1,000 within 2025. I'm just trying to, see someone listening who may be needing to see an eye doctor and have their cataracts dealt with. What's the spread geographically?
Yes, so that is across the country. And where the patients are coming from is from waiting lists at the government hospitals. So trying to take patients who are already on these very long waiting lists at government hospitals and then trying to link them through the Right to Sight Trust with private facilities which are offering their time and facilities to do this.
So the other phenomenon, please link it up for us nicely, type 2 diabetes. The reading from you doctors and experts is that there's a link there, and it increasingly is increasing the burden in terms of, preventable blindness in our society. Say a bit more. Are we seeing rising levels of type 2 diabetes directly linked to these cases?
Yes, there's a recent study that's just come out which has very scary numbers. It's in the Lancet, and it showed that the prevalence, so the number of diabetics, type 2 diabetics in South Africa, has doubled over the last 6 years. So if you look at that trend, we're going to be sitting with an enormous problem in a few years with a massive number of type 2 diabetics in our country. It looks like at the moment, if you're just looking at middle-aged patients, it's already about 14% of the population. And we know that diabetics have double the risk of getting cataracts. So this is definitely going to make the problem of blindness due to cataracts even worse.
Lastly, Doc, what's the best advice from your side in terms of just general eye care, ongoing on a daily basis, before things escalate such that you need medical intervention?
Yes, I think it's just the general things that doctors always say, isn't it? Stop smoking, UV protection, try and live a healthy lifestyle to try and prevent diabetes as much as possible. And then if you are diabetic, making sure that you go for regular checkups. So our advice is generally, if you do have the capabilities, if you're over the age of 40, to have an eye test done once every 2 years. And if you're diabetic, to have an eye test done once a year. And that can be either at your optometrist, your general practitioner, or just with your general doctor at the clinic.
All right, I've got to thank you for your time, Dr. Jonelle Stephen, who is a member of the Ophthalmological Association of South Africa. I know. She said I must just call her an eye doctor, but why not? I must challenge myself from time to time.
This Heritage Month, SAFM invites you to journey into the past while shaping the future under the theme Reimagine Our Heritage Institutions for a New Era. We celebrate the stories, traditions, and voices that define who we are as a nation. From vibrant conversations to thought-provoking debates, SAFM is where heritage meets innovation, connecting generations and keeping our culture alive in a changing world. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Top Sport with Michael Abramson.
We're joined on the line by Formula One correspondent Thulasizwe Simelane. The incident as far as the South African government are concerned, and the minister in the presidency, Khumbudzo Ntshavheni, announcing that cabinet has approved South Africa's bid to potentially host a Formula One Grand Prix back at Kyalami starting in 2027 for a duration of 3 years.
So look, I was looking at what our chances are in terms of all the other bidders from an African perspective. I think from a Kyalami standpoint, we have the higher chances given that there already is an existing infrastructure timeline to ensure, that we adhere to the regulations from a safety perspective, which is largely where the upgrades are required from ensuring the readiness of the Kyalami racetrack in preparation for the Grand Prix. So I do think in terms of the African contenders that there is a high likelihood.
Top Sport on SAFM.
Call Thulasizwe now, 086 000 2032.
All right, let me start with the voice notes this time around. I think one or two people wanting to respond to what Chris in Camperdown was saying about the electoral system. So it's a nice mix of topics this morning. Let me take one or two of those messages.
Hi, Thulas. I hope you're well. Thulas, I just want to respond to Chris on this electoral system thing. I don't know why in South Africa specifically we don't hold the voters accountable. Because voters sometimes as well, they don't vote with accountability in mind. They just vote for populism.
Hey, what a sobering thought. We always talk about holding politicians accountable. What about holding the voters accountable? Do you mind if I say that the consequences of our vote actually are the accountability mechanism? It's not as pronounced. We don't talk about it much. But when we live the reality of the way we voted, I suppose that's really the accountability that comes in. But do we then pick up the lessons for the next electoral cycle? That's where the big question is.
Gore. This guy is talking about the electoral system in South Africa. He seems to be contradicting himself because he's complaining about the blind one in South Africa, but he's giving an image of America where it is not a blind one. They got what they saw. They voted what they were seeing. They still got Donald Trump, according to him, whom he thinks is the West. But it was in a different electoral system where you see what you get and you get what you see.
Yeah. Gore, thank you for that. I love the way that he introduces himself, by the way. Gore always starts his messages that way. So he's talking about the case where, you didn't get the thing in a package. You didn't know what's inside the box. And then you opened it after the election and you were surprised. But in the US, the box is transparent. You could see what's in it. And the Americans made that choice very consciously. And again, that accountability to the voters, they are living with the consequences of their choices. Begi in Bombela. Good morning. You want to reflect on Calvin Rafadi this morning? Begi? Yes.
And your listeners.
Sure.
I'm a little bit worried about the submissions that were made by Calvin, looking at the fact on the seriousness of the matters and the issues that he said he has been involved, especially particularly when you look at speaking about kidnapping.
Yeah.
A true informant will never, or informer will never go public and compromise or blow his cover, because when you are an informer, you sign a confidential document that will state that even if now there are fingers pointing to your side and to yourself, you cannot blow your cover. I'm a little bit worried about him and his family. That does he see, where does he put himself? For instance, let's say there are other Matlalas out there or cases that he has cracked, if that is true.
Yeah.
And which he has disclosed information. We are living in a fourth industrial revolution now world where your conversation can be made available in any platform.
Yes, yes.
And then did he think about it first before he came and blow his cover?
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you, Peggy, for that. Yeah, lots of question marks. I wonder if Calvin Rafadi will have the opportunity to testify before the Madlanga Commission for his part. Look, he was mentioned in passing, significant mention in any case, but I wonder if it's one of the rabbit holes down which the Madlanga Commission will want to go, or will they be happy with saying, submit a statement answering X, Y, and Z, and let's move on. Let's see how it all unfolds. But the points being made by Begi there, really important ones about, if you are saying you are an informant or someone who is an operator on the official books of the SAPS, and you come on air and you expose yourself in that way, what are the implications for you and your family? Khotso in Midrand, the Madlanga Commission also on your mind as well. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Thulas. Look, man, I still feel like, or let me start with Advocate Hermutau.
Yes.
Yeah, let me give him his flowers, because he has managed at least to steer this ship properly as a senior prosecutor. And the lady of last week was sort of, for me, was sort of happy to see the camera. No. For Hermutau, he showed the seniority and the manner in which he was helping the general there to answer. Somehow the general, although we know people are not the same, as much as people might claim that the general, the level of education, we understand. But giving the evidence, that was important. For me, the fear is that the general was giving a lot of sensitive information. If you can listen to him about that issue, the killings which happened somewhere, I think it's in the fall, the issue of the fort air, they gave a lot of information. We know that there is a commission of inquiry, but there's supposed to be some level of limitation to say, I can give you only this little, but not that far. But the tactic which the general is using to say we have the top 5, which we know who's the top 5, that one I want to comment. But lastly, you see for Shadrach Svia, for me, I will advise him to resign because he won't come back.
You've seen enough.
From where we are.
Yeah.
No. From these two, only these two guys is enough for him.
Khotso, thank you for that.
Resign.
That's Khotso out in Midrand commenting on the goings on and the testimony thus far at the Madlanga Commission.
This is SAFM Sport with Zai Khan.
Good morning to you, Zai. It's Amabagabaga versus Siwelele Samaselese.
Hey, remember? The good old days.
Oh, man. What a team.
Yeah, now look at them. They are sitting somewhere 14th on the log, not looking good. So we've also got a Pirates that's just brimming with confidence as they return to action tonight against a struggling Siwelele FC in Bloemfontein. Now the Buccaneers are fresh off that 3-0 CAF Champions League win over Leoli FC. They're chasing a third straight victory as they continue their climb up the league table. Kickoff is at the Free State Stadium, 7:30 tonight. Let's go to rugby. Springbok powerhouse Andre Esterhuizen says South Africa are preparing for a bruising battle when they face Argentina in the Rugby Championship clash at Kings Park this Saturday. Los Pumas, who beat all three giants last season, the Boks Wallabies and All Blacks, are being tipped as a tough and very dangerous opponent. The Springbok attack coach Tony Brown says they're still hunting a full 80-minute performance this season.
I think we've shown this year patches of good rugby, but I don't think we've put 80 minutes together. So my goal is to get us to perform for 80 minutes, execute all the opportunities that we're producing, and try and really put teams away. So even though last Saturday was good against the All Blacks, our first half was still riddled with errors, and we've just got to be better in those situations.
Let's go to Swimming South Africa. Their president, Alan Fritz, has told SABC Sport that the Federation will meet with Sports Minister Gator McKenzie to address the budget cuts affecting the sport. Fritz, a former swimming instructor, revealed that Swimming South Africa has set a target of 4 medals at the 2028 Olympic Games.
It's hard to say that they will not be at the optimum because the athlete will prepare, okay? The preparation will be underfunded, and that's the worry. If the preparation is underfunded, we can't guarantee the outcome. That's the concern we have in sports.
And finally, motorsport. Christian Horner has formally left Red Bull after agreeing a severance deal following his sacking as team principal in July. Red Bull's statement announcing his departure did not give any figures, but a source close to BBC Sport has revealed a 1.2 billion rand biggest payout in sports history. And that's where we'll park it here for now. John Herika will take the wheel around 12:30 with more sport on SAFM. I'm Zai Khan.
Good morning, I'm Anne Musa. In the headlines, crime expert Dr. Chris de Cox says weak policing and porous borders are the reason drug syndicates choose South Africa. His statement follows police discovery of a crystal meth manufacturing lab in Mpumalanga. Political analyst Dr. Dale McKinley says National Police Commissioner Fani Masimula attempted to abdicate responsibility for the disbandment of the KwaZulu-Natal political Killing Stars team. Masimula appeared before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry yesterday to testify about the disbandment of the team. And the Mzimkhulu Magistrates Court in KwaZulu-Natal will today deliver judgment in the bail application of a former municipal manager. Swelipanzi Sikosana is charged with the murder of former ANC Youth League Secretary General Sandiso Makaka. I'll have details on these and other stories at 9.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Right, if you're just joining us and you missed the advice from, earlier this morning that we've been giving you all morning so far, is to stay off Joburg's N3 highway between Linksfield Road and Buccleuch. If you ignore that advice, you will be stuck in the most incredible traffic. Give you an idea what's going on. One lane open for roadworks just around Linksfield Road. The N3 is backed heavily into Buccleuch. This is on the run to Galulis, if you like. So the highway's backed up to Buccleuch. Behind that, down the N1 North, back as far as Rivonia, and up the N1 South, almost as far as New Road. It's absolutely monumental in terms of the impact that this single lane section is having. And of course, it's a key route to get you down from the north to the airport as well. So just not only stay away from it, but give yourself time to factor out those alternative routes. Going north, not much better from Linksfield up to a single lane section at Buccleuch as well. Still dealing with heavy traffic through Midrand. A crash earlier this morning, N1 North at Olifantsfontein. Traffic heavy on your way to Pretoria, and really even a lot worse than that coming out of Pretoria to Joburg. Brakfontein to Olifantsfontein is the queue that side. Durban, a lot of delay around the Gateway to change. A crash coming south if you're moving from the airport. That traffic towards the crash into Gateway is starting to move. There is another crash on the northbound side there as well. So from Kumashu, it's all heavy. A breakdown before Spaghetti Junction, the N2 North under pressure from the cement factory area. And Cape Town, not one but now two crashes on the N2 inbound between the R300 and the airport exit. The N2 inbound is heavy with queues back as far as Spine Road at Khayelitsha. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
The business update on SAFM.
Let's say good morning once again to Ndauleng for the final update of the morning. Ndauleng, Canal Plus and MultiChoice have taken their transaction over the line.
That's right, Thulas. Canal Plus has successfully completed its acquisition of MultiChoice, and as part of the acquisition, changes have been made to MultiChoice's leadership team, with David Mignot and Nicholas Dandoy taking on key roles in the combined group's African operations. The acquisition has also led to Calvo Mawela, the outgoing CEO of MultiChoice, being appointed as the chair of the Canal Plus African operations. And to fulfill regulatory requirements, Canal Plus has committed to supporting local industries, including firms controlled by historically disadvantaged persons and small businesses in the audio-visual sector. Now, as the integration process begins, MultiChoice customers can expect no disruptions to their subscription and billing agreements. The combined entity plans to inform the market of detailed plans and synergies in the first quarter of next year. With this deal, Canal Plus says it is poised to strengthen its position in the global media landscape, particularly in the continent.
In construction and related services, tell me about PPC and their turnaround strategy. You're saying it's starting to bear fruit, is it?
That's right, Thulas. Now, the cement maker has entered the second year of its Awaken the Giant plan, which is aimed at restoring margins, lifting earnings, and strengthening cash flows. The group's CEO, Matthias Cardarelli, said the program continues to deliver, building on the progress made in the 2025 financial year. Now, as it enters 2026, it's described the first 4 months of the new financial year as evidence of consistent progress, with profitability and efficiency improvements becoming increasingly visible. The group's earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization rose more than 20%. Revenue growth came in at 4%, supported by higher cement demand across South Africa, Botswana, and Zimbabwe. In the South African and Botswana segment, volumes increased by 2%. Zimbabwe provided one of the strongest growth stories, with cement sales volumes jumping 22% on the back of upbeat consumer demand and the introduction of a 30% tariff on imported cement. Now, the update was welcomed by markets, sending the share price 3.4% higher in yesterday's session. The group further said that the full picture of its performance, its half-year performance that is, will be revealed when it releases its results in November.
What is the name of the turnaround strategy? What is it called?
Awaken the Giant.
I love it. I love it. Yesterday we were having a conversation with Zion. I was telling her about the importance of giving your unit, your entity, whatever, your squad, your plan, a proper name. You need a name that's and that name
and that is kind of hard.
It's
kind of aggressive.
Yeah. Awaken the Giant. All right. What kind of a trading day can we expect today? Kind of day.
It won't be a kind of day unless gold continues to rally. We'll see. But local markets are in for a mixed start following global peers. A slow company news day. There is results out of investment company Remgro, and that will keep investors busy. In currency markets, the rand remains stable. It's at 17.34 to the dollar. Then over in the commodities scene, oil prices declining for a fifth consecutive session as an agreement reached between Iraq and Kurdish regional governments to restart an oil pipeline added to oversupply concerns. Brent is sitting just above $65 per barrel this morning. Then back to equities, US futures are flat with traders hitting pause ahead of the PCE print. That print, of course, is the Fed's preferred inflation measure. And then lastly, in Asia, markets on track to close mixed, with major tech counters like Baidu weighing on the Hong Kong Hang Seng as well as the Shanghai Composite.
All right, Ndauleng, have yourself a fantastic day. That's Ndauleng Lechela, who's kept you updated on business, economics, and the markets throughout the day, throughout the show this morning.
Call Thulasizwe now, 086 000 2032.
All right, let me take a call from Luvo in Gqeberha. Good morning to you, Luvo. Luvo, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning, Thulas. Good morning, Thulas.
Please go ahead.
Tulas, yes, I just want to go ahead and comment about the Madlanga Commission, what I
Yes.
have learned so far.
Mm-hmm.
So far, Tulas, I have learned that our country is being run by grade 12s. In that parliament, we have grade 12s.
Yeah.
And then the graduates are at home, unemployed.
Yeah.
Now, Tulas, the solution for this, the parliament must be dissolved. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, the solution, there must be a criteria to become a parliamentarian.
Yeah.
Otherwise, our parliament can't hold anyone responsible, can't make any decisions because it's just full of grade 12s, starting from our Minister of Police. Now, Tulas, that is my take for this morning.
Yeah. No, I hear you. But now you're saying the parliament must be dissolved and then what? We reconstituted with people who are not grade 12s, as you put it.
Yes, we reconstituted our parliament with the highly qualified people for the positions, not grade 12s. Now, this parliament, it downgrades the standard of our education in the country.
Yeah.
For the fact, the same parliament, it has made a decision before that the passing rate for grade 12 is 30%.
Yeah. All right, Luvo.
You know, it just shows we don't have decision makers there. We don't have quality. We have quantity.
Yeah. All right. Luvo, thank you for that. I think many people would say fair point in the sense of the performance of Parliament in holding the executive to account. But I think in fairness as well, you do need to reflect instances where we've seen areas of improvement, infusion of youth and a certain energy. Certainly, I can say I've observed it, speaking for myself, I've observed it in the current parliament. More than any other parliament, there are committees there that have sort of switched up a gear a bit. I get the point that Luvo is making. It has been our frustration as South Africans for many, many years that parliament just never comes to the party. You'll have glaring questions that anyone, who just thinks about these issues should be asking, and people would appear and they would be shielded from accountability. One opposition MP would stand up and try and ask, and then they would be shouted down, and it would be chaos. But I'm just sensing, I don't know, maybe I'm just an optimist. I'm sensing that there are one or two committees, not all of them. Some of them still need to step up, absolutely. But one or two are starting to show some glimpses of what we can do when we actually do this accountability thing properly. Let me take a call from Loward. Good morning to you, Loward.
How are you?
Very well, how are you?
Good, my brother. No, we are all spellbound as Thulasizwe by the testimonies coming from the Madlanga inquiry.
Yes.
And then that is because it is trying to unearth the rot or the demons which have colonized our criminal system.
Yes.
But I've got two issues to us taking out developments. One, there's a sub-item of the terms of reference for that commission, which that the commission cannot wait for the completion of its work.
Yes.
As long as they can detect any criminal activity that has committed, that will have to be investigated and be tested in the court of law.
Mm-hmm.
The last one, there was a mentioning of the president yesterday that he was informed, blah,
yes,
blah, blah.
I picked it up, yes.
Yes, and then it will be convenient for the commission, the chair, and together with his commissioners, to summon the president. Like the president has been summoned in both the Salam and the Zondo commissions to testify in this ongoing inquiry because it's so incumbent.
You're spot on. You're absolutely spot on, Lord. I can't agree with you more. We do need to hear from him as well, his sense of where the lines should be drawn. When General Masemola raised that issue with him, what were his thoughts about whether his minister was acting properly or not within the confines of the Constitution? I agree with you.
Thanks, Thulasizwe. Great
All right.
as always.
Lord, thank you for that. That's Lord there calling in about the Madlanga Commission. Also on the mind of Parks this morning, the Madlanga Commission. Good morning to you, Parks.
Good morning, Thulas, and good morning to your audience. Thulas, yesterday the National Commissioner failed on 2 counts. One of them, which was very glaring, was when he was asked not once but twice about would he do anything when it comes to the Minister of Police, asking him to do something that is to actually do take an instruction or an order that would be conflicting with him as the National Commissioner, of which he said that it's career limiting. I found that, number one, to be, as somebody who's in leadership, someone who does not have leadership skills to handle such a situation, the way he answered it. And to drive it further, one of the commissioners actually even asked him just to ascertain and make sure that his response to that was he actually saying that he would actually take that instruction from the minister. I think even if it meant that it's going against his career as National Commissioner. And the second part, the National Commissioner failed to actually let us, not only as South Africans but as the public, to understand how do operations work when it comes to their work as the National Commissioner, in terms of saying, okay, these are what are known as priority crimes, and these are crimes which we actually, on our operations, determine certain things as to how to address them. So he failed dismally to say, okay, this is how we handle priority crimes.
No, thank you for that, Parks. It's been interesting. We're learning quite a lot about the thinking of the actors within these institutions, right? Because institutions act through the agency of the people that lead them, and their hands and feet that actually carry out the mandate of these institutions. And as far as this one institution, we're getting a glimpse into the thinking of the person at the head of it, and we are all getting to reflect on whether or not he's able to carry out that mandate even under pressure. Remember the comment that was made by Justice Madlanga, where he was saying, when you said you would not carry out an unlawful instruction, you should have qualified your answer then. You should have said, I would not carry out an unlawful instruction unless the minister is breathing down my neck. I thought that was quite telling. Zoe, good morning.
Good morning, Thulas.
Yes, sir.
Oh, no, not much today. I'm happy that the commission has started, and then I'm fascinated. My first impressions are one of fascination with the first 2 days. And then I'm beginning to question, ask myself, where are those who seem to be negative about the formation of the commission? Where are those? What are they saying now? Or was it because they fear that they may also be implicated in it? Now, the commissioner, Masemula, when he first began to contradict himself, I said to myself, there's something in what General Mkwanas was saying.
No, I hear you, Zoe. Yeah. No, thank you for that, Zoe. And that's not to say that there was just one aspect to the evidence of General Masemola, is it, Zoe? For me, at least, it is that we are saying this aspect was actually quite crucial. There were other aspects. I mean, it testified to all sorts of other things. Ket Matlala's role and the relationship that he alleges that was there between Ket Matlala and General Shadrach Sibia, operations starting up and closing up, task teams and the likes. But this one aspect of unlawful instructions, it stands out for a reason, doesn't it?
Yes. No, you're quite correct. Let us wait and listen and see what is going to be the outcome. But now the direction is already clear.
Yeah.
But like they all say that where there's a smoke, there must be fire. So the fire is coming.
Got you, Zoe. Thank you for that. Let me take Modise also on the same theme before I go to Temba, who has something completely different on his mind. Modise, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well, how are you?
Okay. I was so disappointed by the general for not answering a simple question. General Mkwanas has paved a way for him to say, if he says the disbandment of that unit is unlawful, what does it mean? To say it should have been involved the National Commissioner himself, the IMC, as well as the General himself.
Yeah.
Now, I couldn't get it as to why it's so difficult for him to answer that simple question. To say it is unlawful when all these parties are not involved, but it is lawful when they are involved, as per the evidence given by General Mokganazi on the FB. I can't remember with the two. Another point, there is this guy, I can't remember his name, the evidence expert that General Mokganazi dropped his name in the Ngandla Commission. He says he grew up with Chet Makala.
Yeah,
And Makala was
Kelvin
his
Rafadi.
homeboy.
Yes.
Yeah, and Makala was his homeboy. Now he should have recused himself on the investigation leading to the arrest around the kidnapping of, I can't remember also the name of
Jerry
that guy. That was,
Yes.
Yeah, he should have recused himself.
Yeah.
Now, when he was interviewed, I was like, this guy.
Yeah,
Yo,
let's
thank you.
leave it there for this morning. Thank you for that. Let me go to Temba. Temba, you have something completely different on your mind. Why is the Law Society of South Africa on your mind?
Yes, Thulas. Morning, Thulas.
Good morning.
Yes, Thulas. It's Temba here in Mpumalanga, Mbombela.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Thulas, we have the problem here of Law Society. Law Society does not help us. Like my story, Thulas. I've been in accident from 2010. Then I claim from RAF. Then RAF paid me in 2024 last year November, only to find they paid my money into my lawyer. Then LPC suspend my lawyer. Then now it is difficult for me to get my money in the account of the lawyer that has been suspended by LPC. Then they said they referred me to Pretoria. I went there to Pretoria. Then they said they are busy with the process. Is about 15 years. It's from 2015 this matter. I tried to even email them to get even hold of Director Braille. Director does not help me. You understand, Thulas. Now it's running to 15 years. This matter has not been solved. I didn't receive any money. I went to RAF. RAF, they give me proof of payment that we paid you guys. Then now the problem is between your lawyer and the LPC.
What a shame.
Then my lawyer said, nothing can I do because LPC suspended my practice. Then now I went to LPC. LPC, there is my money inside that account that you are suspended. And here is the proof of payment from RAV to say that we paid this guy. Then now the problem is that RAV, that money is for general damages. Now there is another man for loss of income. RAV said to me, we are not going to proceed paying that money because you didn't receive even the first man of the general damages.
All right.
Then now I'm struggling to get help. That is why I think you will help me.
Let's do this, Temba. Please stay on the line. Let's take your details and see if anyone who's listening that is responsible for these institutions that you are talking about can assist, the Legal Practice Council and the likes. And the reason for this is that as Temba is talking, I realize that some of these processes that we think we can wait out and allow them to grind and take however long they take. Actually, there are real life consequences for people who've been waiting. When Temba talks about the accident having happened in 2010, 2011, today we're in 2025. And just because the processes are still grinding in the background doesn't alleviate Temba's plight and his situation and just his eagerness to get finality on this matter. Let's see who can step forward. To anyone who's listening, involved with these matters, it would really help if you could step forward and just at least check what is the situation with this particular case, this particular attorney, and this particular practice.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Well, just again, another reminder to stay off the N3 in Joburg between Linksfield Road and Buccleuch, and stay off it both ways. If you join it, if you pick it up, you're there for the long haul today. One lane open going south down to Linksfield Road. The queue starts right back onto the N1 South Midrand territory. I mean, the M1 through Midrand is pretty heavy anyway, from sort of Old Joburg Road all the way down to Buccleuch. It's a result result of an earlier crash on the northbound, which everyone had a look at, but just really heavy from Old Joburg Road down to Buccleuch, and half of that, the bottom end of that N1 South is just traffic waiting to get into that N3. It really is super bad. Just stay off it. You get out of that N1 South at Buccleuch, and then you just stay in the most incredible traffic filtering into a single lane down at Linksfield. That's southbound. Northbound from Modderfontein up towards multiple lanes closed at Buccleuch for roadworks is pretty heavily backed up, so just stay away from it. Really is outrageous what's going on there this morning. There's a bit of traffic on the Mike 1 heading down towards Parktown if you've left Santon. A bit of work to get through into the Houghton area. Durban, which has had a really busy Tuesday as well. One of the problems is a breakdown before Spaghetti Junction, so N2 North coming up from the M7, which is normally easing up this time of morning, isn't this morning. It stays busy. Crash has come off the N2 inbound onto the Southern Freeway, so that's slow. Jackknife truck on the M7 away from the bluff under the M4. That's still very heavy, and there's a lot of pressure on the M4 North this morning. Just sort of Durban North up to Virginia Airport, slow on your way towards the Madlanga area, and roadworks on Stapleton Road up through towards Sandy Centre, or Sandy Centre, I think they call it, slowing traffic into Pinetown. And then Cape Town, crashes all over the show as well. There's one on the R44 on your way to Stellenbosch approaching Jamestown. That's really heavy coming out of Somerset West. Big queues towards Stellenbosch into that crash, and 2 collisions on the N2, one inbound at the R300, another inbound after that at the airport. The N2 remains chock-a-block from Spine Road right through to the airport exit. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
Call Thulasizwe now, 086 000 2032.
All right, let's wrap it up nicely with some of your voice notes. And before I get to those, I want to read a message from Felix in Midrand. And Felix helpfully and rightly points out that, in Felix's words, except that Masimola didn't carry out that instruction, the record shows that he stalled and approached the president in trying to resolve it without soiling the relationship with his boss. It's a balancing act, says Felix in Midrand. You're absolutely spot on. Those details always matter, and I'm always bothered when when a story is reported without reflecting its complexity in the way that Felix paints in that message that says he's under criticism for taking steps towards implementing an instruction that he deemed to be unlawful. But ultimately, he didn't carry out the instruction to its ultimate, logical conclusion, which would have been to shut down the political killings task team. So I suppose, Felix, he was playing that balancing act. But the questions that he was facing were about, why did you even take those steps? When you're saying that this was an unlawful instruction, a leader at that level, do they enjoy that kind of leeway that says we can understand why you didn't stamp your authority? I don't know. I wonder. Let me take some voice notes. One on Helen Ziller.
Good morning, Thulas and the SAFM listeners. Emmanuel Mtola in Durban. See, if Mama Helen Zille succeed to become a mayor of Joburg, I think it will be a rescue of that once beautiful city, which is now in a bad state. So people should stop criticizing Helen Zille because she is better. She is better. Thank you.
Morning, Thulas. I couldn't agree more with the gentleman who said that the voters need to be held to account for the decisions that they make. You know, that statement is so true. A lot of what we are suffering today, governance-wise, it's actually self-inflicted. So voters continue to make these decisions, and the entire country ends up suffering for them. So what that gentleman said is so spot on.
Yeah, what's that old maybe that's what I'm suffering from. That age-old adage, voters, in a democracy, voters get the government they deserve, is what they always say. Let me take this one. Someone wants to comment here about the deal between Canal Plus and MultiChoice.
Hi, Thulas. Hoping you well. This is Daniel. Tulas, now that Kenel is actually taking over from MultiChoice, Tulas, we'd like to ask, just to get the new CEO now for Kenel, just to explain to us how they're gonna, or what's the way forward. Because I'll tell you the reason why we had some problem with MultiChoice. We just want to find out how now that they've taken up, how they're going to solve these problems. Thanks, Tulas.
All right, thank you for that. I wish you had sort of, without going into too much unnecessary detail, but perhaps give a sense of the kind of problems that you would like to have raised around MultiChoice and now with the relationship with Canal Plus. Let me listen to one or two voice notes on Fani Masimula, the Madlanga Commission, and Kelvin Rafadi before we wrap it all up.
Thulasizwe, this is Bongani from KZN. There is a key word that I heard from the Police General, Masimula. And the key word is, not actually the key word, but the key phrase maybe. Let me say so. The phrase is career limiting. We need to quiz him on that because it was clear that he carried out this unlawful instruction just because it was career limiting not to.
Thulasizwe, this is Impiwe in Joburg. I just have a question. A lot of people have been asking. When someone is implicated in the commission and then the media gives that person an interview, doesn't that defeat the whole purpose? Why can't the people who are implicated go to the Madlanga Commission and testify there so that they can be cross-examined? Because to me it seems like they are getting free PR exercise when they try and come and explain themselves on your show as opposed to go to the commission. Please clarify that for me. Thank you. Great
point. I'm out of time, but I appreciate the point you are making. There's always that concern about being a platform for denials. It applies to my colleagues in broadcasting in relation to investigative journalism done elsewhere within the journalism fraternity. I'm always wary of it, that it shouldn't be, when these people are approached, they don't avail themselves by the people who are doing the reporting, who are holding the reports, who are holding all sorts of spreadsheets, but they will rush to you so that you become a platform for denials. So I think the answer to what you are saying is that even in this instance, there is room to hold people accountable publicly, but not allowing them free rein and allowing them to use you as a platform for denials without being held fully accountable. But you are absolutely spot on. We must always be vigilant as a media so that we don't become that platform of denials. That's it. Completely out of time. I'm out of here. Thank you for listening and thank you for your engagement. The Talking Point with Ketimo Tlatlana is up next here on SAFM. I'm Thulasizwe Simelane. You've been briefed.
Did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
first things first. Let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
Masemola said the embattled police minister, Senzo Mchunu, ordered the disbandment of the task team, describing his actions as a total encroachment on his constitutional authority. McKinley, however, suggests Masemola might not be entirely blameless in this matter.
We don't have all the facts in this particular instance, so it's going to play itself out. But if, for example, General Masemola is making these kinds of allegations and saying it's really the minister's fault, he didn't know that he wanted to disband this political task team and everything else, well, then the question is whether operational people in those positions, the commissioner himself, doing their job. And the answer in this case is probably not. So I think we have to also look at both sides of this picture. It's not just politicians interfering. It's those who are public servants who themselves might not be doing their job and then try to wiggle their way out of it once they're caught.
The Umzimkhulu Magistrates Court in KwaZulu-Natal will today deliver judgment in the bail application of a former municipal manager. Zwelipanzi Sikosana is charged with the murder of former ANC Youth League Secretary General Sindiso Makaka. Sikosana was arrested again in July this year in connection with the 2017 murder. The court also heard that Makaka, who also served as an Umzimkhulu councillor, was vocal about fraud and corruption. Police have shot and killed a suspected robber in Wellington in the Boerland after he pointed a firearm at them. Police spokesperson Wesley Twigg says 3 other suspects were arrested in the incident, which happened yesterday. Twigg says 2 pistols and ammunition were confiscated from the suspects.
The members received information about 2 vehicles standing in the parking area of a supermarket. Upon arrival on the scene, the 2 vehicles, one silver and one black Kia Picanto, sped off. They noticed 4 unknown males running in the direction of the taxi rank and gave chase on foot. One of the suspects pointed police members with a firearm and was fatally wounded. The other 3 adult male suspects were arrested and 2 9mm pistols with ammunition and a plastic bag containing cellular telephones were recovered. The suspects are due to appear in the Wellington Magistrates Court on Thursday.
And finally, leader of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, has urged more countries to follow the lead of France and Britain and recognize a Palestinian state. Abbas has praised the French President Emmanuel Macron, who told a summit at the United Nations yesterday that the path to peace in the Middle East was through the coexistence of 2 states. An alternative vision is expected from US President Donald Trump when he meets with Arab and Muslim leaders in New York today. Abbas was speaking via video link in a high-level international conference on Palestine in New York.
We commend the positions of those countries that recognized the state of Palestine. We call on those who have not yet done so to follow suit. We call for your support so that Palestine become a full-fledged member of the United Nations.
Recapping the top story, crime expert Dr. Christo Cox says weak policing and porous borders are the reason drug syndicates choose South Africa. His statement follows police discovery of a crystal meth manufacturing lab in Mpumalanga. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
Makoti Down Products is a proudly South African family business, started more than 30 years ago with 12 geese and a piece of material. Makoti manufactures duvets, pillows, sleeping bags, and high-quality Egyptian cotton linen. Our down products are suitable for people with dust mite allergies and come with a lifelong guarantee. And we offer a nationwide cleaning service for all your feather and down products. Visit us at makoti.co.za or call us on 041 9922 For quality down, Makoti Down.
This week on FC Meets, Tisetso and Bandile chat to TS Galaxy's rising Bafana star Kumlani Ndamane. Find out how this defensive gem handles the pressure of being a starting 11 regular, national duty responsibilities, and overseas ambitions. Tune in to SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 on Saturday, 27 September at 6 p.m. Also available on SABC+. FC Meets, football made for community by community. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.